Everyone's covered in glitter.
I thought you were dead.
Hello there. Welcome to the Roast Mortem Podcast, the only podcast about children's haircuts.
Wait.
I am Tom.
We don't talk about that, Tom.
I'm changing it up. I'm having a good time.
I didn't research children's haircuts. All I know is mushroom cut and bowl.
All right.
Is that different? Are those things different?
The mushroom cut and child
From the bowl
cut?
cut.
They're pretty similar.
It's styled a little bit more.
I had it as a
mushroom
kid.
cut. Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm Travis. I had a mushroom cut as a child.
I'm Mike, and I also had a mushroom cut.
I am Cody. My hair doesn't do that weird shit, so I've just had froze and buzzes.
Cody, you had a shiitake cut.
But
Because you're Asian.
I see what you did there. Very subtle racism in the first minute. Good
Just
for you.
a touch. Yeah, the reason I started this one about child haircuts is because I went to the barber today. The lady who cuts my hair usually does a fantastic job, and she does the same thing, and I get a pompadour because I'm a sexual man. And I walked in, I said, hey, we'll do the pompadour again. And she just went on autopilot and cut my hair into Eagle Scouts, who's just listening to Eminem through 7th grade, and I feel like such a child right now.
I noticed it was different.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look bad.
No,
I
it
hate
looks-
when barbers get too carried away.
Dude, I look like shit right now.
Yeah, all right.
No,
you
you
do
look
look like
great.
shit.
I'm-
I'm not
that.
coming out of this fucking basement for the next month. I'm staying
Travis,
here.
Can you make sure Tom shows up on our Instagram carousel?
Yeah, well, I'll put him on there. Oh, and happy 4th of July.
Yes.
Happy birthday, America.
And there's fireworks happening outside.
Yeah, because it is the 4th of July right now when you're listening to the show.
This is actually the first live show we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this RSS feed. We've been talking to Steve Jobs and Tim Cook. Your podcast experience, your app is going right to my basement right now.
Yeah.
So you can hear my haircut live.
Every time someone clicks, we start the show over again.
It's real rough.
Yeah.
And it's all scripted, by the way.
Yes.
No banter.
No. How was your American weeks this week?
Cody, why don't you start?
I'll go first. Piggybacking on bowl cuts, mushroom cuts, and looking like a child in general, I've made the horrifying yet hilarious discovery that my baby face causes Groundhog Day-like episodes in my elderly family members that have dementia. Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, they just look at, like, oh, there's Cody and his pube beard. 2007 is great.
What?
No, they're just thinking, fuck, I had to like dish out money for his graduation. God damn.
Yeah, again, yeah.
And you should milk that shit.
Yeah,
You're like,
maybe.
yeah, I'm
If I was an
graduating.
Evil cunt, yeah.
I'm totally graduating next year, Grandma. Yeah. That'll be $500.
Money, please.
Third time this week.
Do you like G.I. Joe? Do you like G.I. Joe action figures?
I do, Grandma. Why am I talking like a senior citizen to my own grandma?
That's not how you do it. But all right, so Mike, Travis wants to know, how was your week?
Yeah, kickflips.
Some kickflips. I got my passport photo taken this week.
Oh yeah, no passport though, right?
I'm still waiting on it.
Where you going?
Just don't know yet.
You don't know? No.
Gotta find out about that part.
No reservations.
Yeah.
No.
Parts unknown.
Yeah, well.
Somewhere in Europe, I'm thinking.
Just don't go to Anthony Bourdain's Final Destination.
Was that gay Paris?
I don't know. Where did he kill himself?
Yeah.
Antarctica, maybe.
No, I think he died in gay Paris. You don't need a passport for Antarctica. It's not owned by a country.
I don't know. They might take a passport for that. I don't even think they have an airport. You got to build an ice bridge yourself.
Yeah, build a little
They
bro.
have 24 time zones on that continent.
That's ridiculous.
I'll live in
You know,
all
it's
of them at
obnoxious,
once.
really.
All right, Tom, I would ask you about your week, but
Don't
we
care.
we already heard because
I don't care.
Got a haircut,
you,
right?
you look like you should be wearing a puka necklace
Nice
right
haircut.
now.
I feel that way, man.
Hey, respect the puka.
Come, my lady. Come, my lady. Yeah, that's me all day right now. Fuck. If you see him on the street, throw a tomato at me. I deserve one. I saw it happening, too. I'm sitting there. God damn it. Travis, how was your shitty week?
Oh, you asked! Thank you!
That was an accident, Tom.
No, it was just so I stopped thinking about the thing that's making me most angry right now, which is I look like a baby troll doll.
The hair grows back. You'll be all right.
Dude, I'm about to nair the whole head. Anyway, Travis, what's going on?
I am officially moving to Portland.
What?
Oregon.
Fuck.
Yeah, yes, I am.
Who signed off on this?
I don't know. My penis.
Going overseas.
I
not
used my penis like a dowsing rod, and I just walked in the general direction.
All the way to Portland.
Did you also get your passport photo?
Yeah, I did. It's it automatically gave me a twirled mustache,
Yeah.
and a bunch of beer.
Man, you're going to love
Craft
that there
beer.
because it's wet and it's cold, and that's your shit.
Wet, wild, and cold.
I heard they have good coffee.
They do. They have some pretty sexual coffee. But don't worry, we're still going to be doing our shit. Doesn't mean the end of roast mortem. I'm just going to be roasting more because I'm going to be into my baristas. The brewing.
Yeah, we'll still be able to hear you 3 time zones away. Don't worry.
We'll be a nitro roast mortem cast.
Like Nitro
Cold tap.
Circus.
All right, so I think what needs to happen is that, Mike, you have to move to, like, Texas or something. So this could be
Roast Mortem Cast.
this could be a true bros talking on the internet style podcast. But look, we've been talking about that for way too long. Weeks, who gives a shit? What's going on with the chop block tonight?
Oh, Choppy Man.
Who's going?
So, for the 4th of July, I figured we would do the most American thing.
Uh-huh.
That is, talk about English royalty.
Oh, yeah, I get that. Red, white, and blue still.
Can't have America without English royalty. That's where they make the chowder, New England.
New
The
England.
New England.
It's the newest English royalty. It's like they take the baby England children and they make chowder with them.
Yeah, they roll them in cheese and they put them on wet grass.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, welcome to America, you
to
son of a
America.
bitch.
Is there an old
Can
York?
we just be called Better England?
Yes.
Just a York?
Yeah, who missed
they're-
that opportunity?
Better England. So tonight we're going to be roasting Edward II. And this boy was kicking around the 13th and 14th century. So we're going way far back tonight.
Wow, can't believe it.
But, you think sometimes like, oh, old stuff. It's kind of boring. It's kind of dry. This shit is like a soap opera. It really is. There's so many people in play. And it's fucking crazy.
All right, well, I'm just going to say right now, 2 things. I never think that. I don't know why you would say that. Secondly, I don't like soap operas. Why am I here tonight?
Is this like the Dark Ages?
Yeah, well, Middle Ages.
Middle Ages, yeah.
We don't like to say dark because that's a little racist to the medieval times.
That's not racist to say the Dark Ages.
No, well, they weren't smart back then. That implies that they're dumb.
Who's they,
Yeah.
Travis?
Oh, come on. Come on.
You are just going to get it. You're getting
Keep
it
digging.
tonight.
Dude. Oh, my God. I'm going to get attacked by so many progressive people right now.
Is that really a thing? I'm sorry.
No, it's not at all.
Oh, shit.
No,
I was like,
what are they
fuck.
going to do? Tweet at you? Someone from fucking 1400s could be like, fuck you, Mike Regan. We're not all dark here. We're not all a bunch of dum-dums.
So, because this is so much of a soap opera, we're going to break this into dose parts.
What? It's a fatty.
Trust me, this is a fat boy, but there's so much shit going on. I'm going to get into it right now.
All right.
So little Eddie II was born April 25th, 1284, in Carnarvon Castle in North Wales. I know how to say that because I've been there.
Didn't you live there for a while in that castle?
Oh,
I
cool.
live close to that castle, yeah.
Really?
It was a sweet-ass castle. I think I got some hot dogs next to it.
Called sausage roll over there.
Sausage roll. His mother was Eleanor of Castile, and his daddy was Edward I, known as Edward Longshanks, or
Okay.
or the Hammer of the Scots.
Oh, Longshanks.
Longshanks.
Yeah, he's a side of beef. You can throw him over a barbecue all week. You'll never get through him. Longest shank you've ever seen.
Well, his legs were like 2 long strips of steaks. He just flops around like a squid on
2
land.
shish kebabs on
You actually know this king, and I'll tell you how you know him. You know that guy, William Wallace?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Mel Gibson. I'm bringing it back to the 4th of July. Freedom. Mel Gibson, the most American man in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Braveheart.
I gotta watch The Patriot later.
Yeah.
We're all going to watch it.
So the dude that chopped off his, Dangus and Scotch eggs, That was William the First.
Not in person.
Edward the First. Did I call him William before?
No, that was your first time.
Okay, he's Edward. This is good. I'm trying to get stay on Eddie's. You just got to remember Eddie.
This is English, Travis.
All right, so yeah, Edward the First chopped off William Wallace's dangus and nuts.
Ow.
Yeah, you know the movie. It was brutal. So this dude was a war-hardened king that had a short temper and a propensity for violence.
That's how I like my royalty.
Yeah. Now let's get to know his sequel of a son.
What?
Sequel of a son.
Second coming.
Hello, my name is Edward. This is my sequel.
Coming soon.
Edward 2. This is Edward 2, Longshanks Redux. Yeah, he's Two Shanks. That's his rap name.
Zach.
So you might think, all right, I mentioned he was born in Carnarvon Castle, which is in Wales, and that's weird, right? It's an English king born in Wales. Mm-hmm. Usually most of them are born in London. Well, along with Scotland, his daddy, Edward I, had fucked up Wales. And the legend was that he sent his wife, Eleanor, to Carnarvon Castle to poop out Eddie II in order to show his power to the Welsh by giving them a prince that was, in quotes, born in Wales and could never speak a word of English.
It's tricky for the Welsh.
Yeah.
See what I mean? They're like, oh, look, it's a Welshman. I own you.
Wow. Okay.
That's very bizarre.
Yeah.
Just blasting a baby in some dirt castle.
Is that what you call vaginas nowadays, Travis?
Mud huts.
So Edward II was not the first baby boy that him and his father made. He was actually the fourth son. Two of them had died in childhood, and Alfonso, which would be weird if there was a King Alfonso of England.
I'd be into it. The coolest one out there. Hey, suck my dick.
Yeah. He was 10 years older than William and heir to the throne. Because, the oldest son becomes king back then.
course.
I think now they changed the rules somehow, or you could have a queen. I don't know. It's all progressive
They still
now.
do that?
Well, none of it should exist anymore. It's such a backward system they have. I mean, why?
Oh, yeah.
Why there's still royalty? I mean, why there's even a president? I don't know.
Well,
Part of history, I guess. You got to keep doing it.
I think it's so funny that Americans are more obsessed with royalty than the British are.
Yeah, right?
It's like, dude, this is what America freedom. This is the 4th of July. We shoot them fireworks off because we don't need a king. Okay, so there's Alfonso, bro, who's 10 years older than Eddie the First, or Eddie the Second. He died 4 months after Edward II was born, and that made this baby idiot Edward the new heir to the throne.
Congratulations.
And without knowing it, he had the entire weight of the England's future on this little baby's shoulders.
Nice. Just to wear a cape.
Surprise royalty.
Cool.
Just wear that cape, yeah, like a little crown.
Crown put on your head, kind of doesn't fit.
Yeah, well, in America, that's called going to Burger King.
Exactly.
Yeah, except over in Burger King, they're a little more flexible. You can adjust the size of the crown. Over there, you got a goldsmith. He does it once.
That's it.
That's your head size. You better grow into it.
Yeah.
You better not
gangster
eat too many
tilt to
pork
it.
chops.
It's like when you grew up and you had a snapback, and then you were like, "Oh, this is my head size. Let me get a new heir." Like Fred Durst was the king
Yeah.
of crowns.
My head's not growing anymore.
You're right.
So Edward did have a few sisters, but in the sexist world of the 13th century, they were just ladies to be given off to other royal families for influence, land, power. It's a sweet.
Sounds like a deal.
Trade.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Trade you 2 horses for this girl.
Yeah. Dude, I would be the biggest slut if I was a chick. Yeah, I'm just putting it out there. I
But
probably
just
would
in
be.
general.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Like,
you barely have any pride now.
it's true. So, let's talk a little bit about Eddie's royal childhood. As the case with most royal families, he lived a sheltered, secluded childhood. If you were royal, there was so much pressure put on you and so much grooming as a child that you usually grew up to be a paranoid, spoiled, gullible individual that was socially retarded.
Also, the inbreeding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
also
that
the
too,
inbreeding. Yeah. So while some of these qualities rubbed off on Edward, he was spoiled as fuck and a skilled horseback rider and loved his greyhound racing.
Ooh.
He at least tried to mingle with his soon-to-be subjects. He seemed very fascinated in trying to understand them and do things that they did.
So he would go into the village and kind of just bother people. And they'd be
golf.
like, well, I'm a blacksmith, and this is me making nails, and please don't hang me later.
That's how you do it? This is how you make the swords?
Yeah, that's how I make swords, little Eddie.
Wow.
And one thing that's very important about blacksmithing, you don't want to hang blacksmiths.
I see.
How do you get it so pointy?
Why don't you come back tomorrow and I'll show
Okay.
you. Just remember this. Most important part, blacksmithing, can't do it while you're hung.
See you tomorrow.
That's pretty much how it went.
I don't want my boss's son, who's gonna get the job, to be looking at my fucking I don't know, Excel sheet.
Oh, take your child to work day is a fucking plague on mankind.
I used to love it.
Fuck you.
Him mixing and mingling with the common folk rather than enjoying things like jousting or hunting and other royal manly activities was very much troubling to his mother and father. Edward loved things like music, especially the newly invented Welsh instrument that has no vowels in it, the quith.
God damn it.
It's CRWTH.
Of course it is.
Quith.
Is that
Cruth.
just a long piece of plumbing with like some cherries in it?
I've seen the Blue Man Group use it once.
Okay, I don't care.
like
I don't
singing.
care.
You
I'm a musician.
wanna hear
Don't
it?
care. I'm
You don't
never
want to
gonna-
hear? Come on, Tom.
No, I don't want
Wanna hear
to.
the
All right.
No, I'll play it at the end of the episode.
All right, we'll play some. I think it's called Cruth.
Oh,
He's not going to play it at
Because
the end
apparently
of
a
the episode.
W is a vowel in Welsh, but it's stupid. But anyway. He also enjoyed things like rowing, hedging, and ditching.
Oh, what's ditching?
Ditching is
Yeah.
digging ditches.
People used
Okay.
to dig holes for fun.
Yep.
You guys ever seen that movie Holes?
Yeah.
No.
That's what he did.
What a good comedy.
All right, so let's describe his physical description right now. And I was lazy. On this slide, it just says tall, curly, brown hair.
Well, we already knew
He's
he
a-
was tall because of the long legs, so you
Yeah.
phoned that in.
Yeah.
You
No,
just described me.
yeah. Apparently, he was a strapping young lad who was a tall boy. And it wasn't like you, because Tom, you
well,
look
I'm not
like
strapping?
well, no, yeah, your hair is too strapped to your
I
head.
have been recently modified.
No, he had curly, like
I really shitty hair.
shoulder hair length curls.
That's what my hair does
all right.
when I'm not cutting it. I wish I had a better example on my head at the moment. But continue. Stop
Sorry.
hurting my feelings.
You don't, Tom. You don't. You really don't.
You're rude. You're fucking rude.
Let's just say you can't be an Edward.
It's a nice haircut, Tom.
You can't be an Edward II impersonator. I'm sorry, you're not strapping enough.
Oh, well, thanks, dude. Mike, I'm going to quote Cody from just a minute ago. Shut up.
I said, fuck you. Let's get it right.
Fuck you. Right. Oops.
So in 1297, Eddie is 13, and Edward I, his father, launches a campaign against Philip IV in France, in Flanders.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
That area.
Yeah.
Ned Flanders.
Ned Flanders.
Yeah, everyone has a mustache, even the ladies.
So his daddy leaves him behind and makes him the nominal regent in the king's absence. So this is basically like the first time your parents left you home alone, except home alone is like an entire country.
All right, that's a lot of paint cans.
So after this quick scuffle in Flanders, as a result, there was a truce, and the way to unite the French and English royal families, they thought, let's make a marriage. Let's do that.
Works every time, dude.
yeah.
You got a couple of people who don't like each other, you make them get married.
You bury the hatchet.
Yeah.
So without young Edward's consent, Edward was arranged to marry Philip IV's daughter, Isabella of France. The problem was that Isabella was 2 years old. Yeah,
And how old is Ed at this point?
he's 13.
Just gotta wait a
Fucking
couple of
royalty.
years.
Yeah, just wait 20 and it's fine.
Well, that's what they did. They put off the
fucking
marriage.
gross.
Yeah, they put off the marriage and waited until Isabella was a full-grown adult woman, 12 years old.
Congratulations, you're getting married today.
All right.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm not going to call Ed a pedophile or anything, but you know that he thought, he's just like, I hope that little baby gets real hot. Like,
This baby's kind of cute.
This is really weird.
Big cute
Come
baby
on, hot
right
baby.
here.
Oh, yeah.
This baby is a little cutie.
Well, it's 12 years later, and she looks the same, just taller.
Wait, how do you look
Oh,
this-
so like me.
All right, so in 1301, Millennium has happened. Y2K, all their computers crashed. Yeah, so in 1301, Edward is granted all the royal lands in Wales, along with the Earldom of Chester, which is a town in England that still has a law today that makes it legal to shoot a Welshman with a bow and arrow if they are
I heard that.
within the city walls after midnight.
Really?
Oh, man. So it's like a little...
Not a crossbow.
Yeah, baby North Korea.
Yeah, you can still shoot a Welshman. The thing is now it's like you'll get charged with murder, but technically the shooting part was okay.
So you
But
could
the
shoot
act
at
is
someone.
wrong.
Yeah.
So you just can't kill them.
You just want to injure them.
Catch
kind
and
of.
release. Of,
Aim for like the
Welshman or
legs.
something.
Shoot him through the dick.
All these accolades were just kind of like a test by Edward's father to see if he was ready to take the throne. And so far, his son's lack of warrior instincts was nowhere near the king's expectation. You know, he's still playing his music, his little quiff or queef.
Because he's out digging holes for fun and talking to the blacksmith.
Yeah.
And making hedges look like doves. Of course
an
he's not
artist.
a warrior. He's a piece of junk. He's a gorgeous piece of junk. Marrying a 2-year-old.
Hey, my baby.
I'd like you to meet my wife.
So the king's like, all right, he needs to be around other people his own age that are training to be knights. So
burly fucker.
Yeah.
Dad, I want to dig holes. I hate you.
You're going to royalty camp.
no.
So the king selected 10 young men that were roughly, young boys that were roughly Edward's age. He was like, yo, dudes, make him man the fuck up. He needs to, fight people. Give him a bloody nose.
Whip him
I
with
don't
a
care.
towel, a wet towel.
Yeah.
Snap at him. Fucking
rat
go into
tail?
the locker room. Suck his dick for a minute.
Cody, it's interesting.
You know.
It's interesting you bring up the rat tail because that defines how much of a man you are. The longer it is, the more of a man.
If you can get a good
I was
whip.
thinking the towel rat tailing.
Okay, no, I was talking about the excellent haircut. Tom, you should have asked
hair
for a
accessory.
fucking rat tail.
Oh, I should have done that. Well, you know what? This haircut right here probably would have got me right into that group. Oh, 31? You passed for 13. You can hang out with this guy with the 2-year-old wife.
So one of them was a man named Piers Gaveston. It's a funny name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, little Piers was becoming one of the best jousters in the kingdom. Piers was Edward's favorite, Eddie the young boy.
Yes.
And when I say favorite, I mean butt stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of poking in the backyard.
I like the way this one
Jousting,
jousts.
you say.
Yeah.
Good technique.
That's right. Edward fell madly in love with Piers, and they could not stay out of each other's anuses.
Keep in mind, this is...
Ouroboros, but with penis.
yeah, this is also medieval, so, I mean, maybe once a week showers? That's a stinky dick.
Ugh, stinky butthole, stinky dick. So remember, we're talking about the Middle Ages, and many chroniclers of the time called their relationship an illicit, sinful union beyond the bounds of moderation, consisting of wicked, forbidden sex, and that Edward was particularly delighted in the vice of sodomy.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I mean, who isn't?
Well, I have no problem with that as long as he doesn't hang me.
Yeah, right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who's judging?
Yeah, right?
I mean, who's judging except for everyone in the Middle Ages?
Yeah, but
Sodomy.
You just
come
mind
on.
your business. Go back to, making your sword and stuff, You just don't want to get hanged.
I have a question. I have to backtrack a few seconds here.
Okay.
You said he was a class jouster. Now, was that a legitimate jouster or a noose jouster?
Both. You know how one of the things they do in jousting, and this is for real, they set up these rings
Yes.
and they hang them from a pole, and you got to get the stick through the ring.
And we know that from going to medieval times in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Maybe the turkey leg is so good.
Let's say Piers was all about getting it into that little brown ring. He was really good at it. He'd see that brown ring from a mile away, be like,
It's my-
Can we go to medieval times?
What's that?
Can we go to medieval times together?
Yes, we can.
That'd
yeah,
be fun.
absolutely. So Edward was not just into the dudes. Any hole was a goal. At the age of 14, he was quote, giving company to harlots, paying 2 shillings to a woman named Maud Makejoy.
Maud Makejoy.
Maud Make.
But wait, wasn't he having gay sex?
He was having gay sex.
Oh, and he was having regular sex
He was
too?
having regular sex.
Well, all right, just
Regular sex.
yeah, just to be clear, nothing wrong with gay sex. I meant regular as in heterosexual.
Regular for Tom.
Yeah.
Not discriminating.
No.
Yes.
So we don't know exactly what point, but Edward had actually fathered and acknowledged a bastard son named Adam, which was kind of strange at the time because you usually wouldn't acknowledge a bastard. So good on him.
I guess.
But that's right.
That's my bastard.
But that's right. Yeah, Edward was a bisexual, but as we will see, he kind of preferred the love of a man to a woman. There were many gay royals at the time that we actually know of, but most of them tried to keep their shit under wraps. Keep in mind, all of these problems that we're going to talk about could have been completely avoided if Edward had just been like, okay, I'm going to be king. Let me be a little discreet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Edward I, the manly bro dude who chops off dicks, heard about this shit, and he was like, oh shit, this plan backfired. I put my gay son around a bunch of hot men.
Oh, no.
Oh, what a good time.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, what are you thinking, man? So he's like, he finds out they're doing a little bit of flesh jousting, as we talked about, and he was like, dude, Edward, you are banned from seeing Piers from now on. He didn't banish him. He's like, go joust somewhere else, Piers. I command you.
Oh, is this the origin story of Romeo and Juliet?
Romeo.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. Romeo and Julio, yes.
Yes.
Romeo and Julio. So a few years later, the two would be reunited on Edward's 22nd birthday. Edward, along with 300 other young men, were knighted at Westminster, one of them being Piers Gaveston. A few other interesting characters were knighted in this ceremony that we're going to get into. A man named Hugh Despenser
No.
and Roger Mortimer. But we'll talk about them later. But just keep in mind these guys are hanging out this gay night ceremony.
Yeah, Hugh Despenser. Is that his stage name?
He just
It's like a porn name.
you can actually, if you need, you can get a condom out of his anus.
You just got to pump him.
Yeah.
So shortly after Edward I chops off William Wallace's Dangus, he goes back to war with the Scots and Robert the Bruce, who was the leader of the Scottish.
You said that so casually, like it was just an errand he did on a lunch break. Like, oh yes, have to castrate Wallace today.
Also, a guy named Robert the Bruce. The fuck is that?
Yeah, Robert the Bruce.
That's a gayer name than Hugh Despenser.
So they Edward I takes Piers Gaveston along with him, and obviously his son was too precious and dainty to fight in this war because if the Bruce got him, then they don't have a throne.
No, don't kill my son.
So a year into fighting, baby Edward, he's 22 years old, but he's still a baby boy.
He's got a fresh face.
He asked his dad to grant Piers the mark of royal favor, along with the earldom of Cornwall.
Okay.
So he's like, dude, can you make this guy that I like an earl? An earl, like, all right. So
Duke of Earl?
An earl is like the governor of a certain region.
Right, and he's already the Earl of someplace, right?
Earl.
No, he's not. He's nobility, but he's not an earl.
What position was he given over that town?
You said regent earlier, I think.
Oh, a regent.
Wait, who? No, I'm talking about Piers.
No, I know, but
okay.
Eddie before.
Oh yeah, he's already an Earl of Chester.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Owns most of Wales.
So he's Earl, and he's just like, Piers, let's get Earl.
Yeah, you want to be an Earl with me? Let's Earl it.
We're early it, guys. OMG.
No backsies.
So he goes to his dad. He's like, yeah, hey, let's get Piers an earldom. And that was enough. The king grabbed Edward by the hair and dragged him around the room, shouting, "You base-born whoreson! You will give away my land that you have never even gained yourself."
Oh, okay.
Wow. And this was in front of people, I assume?
Yeah.
Dad, you're embarrassing me.
I was expecting Piers to just be in the room and Eddie One just shooting him in the face with an arrow and going, "Oh, you mean that guy? You know that guy?"
So with that, the king exiles Piers off to France. He's like, get the fuck out of the country, dude.
No, Isabel. It's beard time. You know French, right?
Isabel
Get me over there.
So Isabel is not even around yet.
Oh.
We're waiting until she reaches 12 years old.
Still a baby.
She's still a baby. She's still in France.
six.
They haven't been banging.
Yeah, that's horrible.
They're just arranged. They're waiting for.
That's fucked.
Waiting-
Kool-Aid?
Yeah, you want
Oh, can I
Kool-Aid?
take one, please? Oh, my God.
Dude.
Oh, you guys have Kool-Aid?
Oh, we got
Fuck.
jammers, yeah. We're jamming. Oh, sick.
Edward begs his father to please let him visit Piers. Not happening.
Yeah, Eddie can't take a hint.
So, a few months after Edward II banishes Piers, on July 7th, 1307, Edward I dies
Oh.
of butt cancer.
Like
That's
the
right.
worst.
It's a real thing.
That's right. He had cancer of the rectum, and if only he had someone to sweep the chimney every once in a while, maybe he wouldn't have gotten it.
I know for a fact it doesn't work like that.
No, it works like that.
Your prostate needs to be tickled every so often.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know. You're not a doctor. It's not like this. It's not like every gay dude is a doctor because they put their dick inside your prostate area.
I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying he might have not had butt cancer if someone knocked out the tumor.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Totally. Wow, that's amazing. Hey, next time you meet someone with a brain tumor and they're fatally ill, just fucking knock them out. Loosen them up.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss. You have vagina cancer
Always
right
spit
now.
out my Kool-Aid.
Oh, dude. Wow, Cody, I think you just wrote a series of Brazzer porn. Wishful thinking.
So because Edward I died, that meant the 23-year-old Edward II, Prince of Wales, was now the King of England.
And I'm guessing his first... Never mind. No.
No, guess. What was it? What were you going to say?
Oh,
What
well,
was
his first action that he took was to go to France.
His first action was to recall Piers and get some
there you
premium ass pounding.
Wow, it's amazing. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Piers wasn't gay. He just didn't want to get hung.
So, Edward II had inherited a kingdom in crisis. The coffers were nearly empty due to the constant warfare in England against an unwinnable force, which was the Scottish and William
Wallace.
not William Wallace. Robert the Bruce.
Robert the Bruce.
Yeah,
They're always fighting back then.
they were.
They're always fucking trying to fuck something up.
Hey, man, it's a way of life.
Also, on top of that, the wounds had not completely healed in France after his father's short war with Philip IV. And the earls were not, like the earls of England, were not particularly fond of Edward's closeness to Piers. Not so much because of the gay butt stuff, more of the fact that Edward was just giving him random shit.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's nice.
like, oh yeah, you want this earldom? Sure, yeah. You want all these gold? That's fine.
You're a knight. You're a knight twice.
Here's a fiat.
So Edward pulls out of Scotland. He's like, I don't do war. We're done here. And then he sets out on some matchmaking for what he called his brother Piers, which is kind of weird for someone that you're banging, calling them your brother.
More porn. Yeah.
So Piers had to marry into a family that was royal in order for him, or like higher status royal. He was already a noble, but like he needed to be part of the aristocracy, the highest royal orders of the land,
Okay.
in order for him to be granted more shit.
You see how far good looks will get you?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Little royal blood, good looking face. He'll do fine.
If
Those
you're
sweet
really,
cheeks.
if you're really, really good looking, you probably don't deserve the job you have.
It's true.
Oh, yeah. All supermodels, fire them.
You never want to be too
Yeah.
good looking or too ugly in this world. I swear to God, you just
Yeah,
kind of
happy
float in the
medium.
middle there.
Yeah.
Like you're just unnoticed.
Yeah, just take care of yourself and see what happens.
While Edward is trying to matchmake Piers, Robert the Bruce sweeps into northern England and starts fucking shit up, burning villages here, burning villages there. So just completely, Edward pulls out and just northern England
Taking
goes to
advantage
shit.
of them.
Yeah, I mean, because you got a guy who's just playing Tinder Plus.
Yeah.
Grinder.
Yeah, Grinder Plus.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like, oh, okay, you do this now? Okay, I'm taking your shit.
Edward quickly buries his father without the usual pomp and circumstance, and 5 days later he marries off Piers to his 13-year-old niece, Margaret de Clare.
Oh, nice.
Who never had sex ever.
No.
No, because her husband was banging the cousin.
Yes. Well, no, I mean, Piers also popped a baby out later, but, like, that was just expected. That was like,
It's crazy how we made it to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury, wife.
He also gave Piers the earldom of Cornwall that he wanted to give him before. And this marriage and the earldom made Piers one of the most powerful royal members in, the kingdom.
Great.
Wow.
So remember what I said about discretion. The barons and earls were not happy about Edward giving him this much power. And on top,
because he's just a pretty face, right?
yeah,
Exactly.
and on top of that, Piers was a cocky, flamboyant braggart. He demanded things far above his station and acted as the king's ear. So if someone had a problem, they had to go through Piers before they could talk to Edward.
And then Piers would tell Edward while they were having sex later.
Yeah.
Cocky and flamboyant.
By the way, Noble Norman, he told me something. I forgot what he said.
The fun was all about to end because Isabella was reaching the ripe old age of 12.
Wow.
Which meant Edward was legally responsible to marry her.
Damn it.
So he ships off to France to meet his bride-to-be. This is the first time they'd actually met.
Oh, wow.
And when he left, he made Piers his regent in his absence. Remember, fucking discretion.
Right,
Like,
a little bit,
like, don't... There's plenty of more suitable people to leave as the king.
Yeah, this guy's good at jousting and anal sex. That's about it. That's all we got. We don't even know if he can count.
So Edward's bride-to-be, Isabella, was actually a very smart girl. Philip IV had placed a very high importance on her education, which was something that wasn't normal at the time, right? I mean, women were just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Okay, so
So, congratulations, Philip.
for being a progressive dad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although he did marry her at 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty foul.
She was said to be beautiful and very sociable, but like any royal, she was incredibly spoiled. Now, the two married in France with at least 8 kings and queens in attendance. Now, there's a very weird thing that they used to do back then called the bedding ritual. I don't know if you know anything about the bedding ritual.
I have a
Is this like
feeling.
a gypsy thing?
Oh, this is basically when, after, you have your reception, right? Yay!
Instead of like too much pork.
Yeah, instead of like, oh, go in the limo, tin cans. Mm-hmm. It's all your relatives follow you back to your room and watch the two bride and groom bang.
Yeah, like gypsies.
Oh, wow. You get a little free show out of it.
Whoa! Put it in there!
Yeah, if you guys remember the Django Reinhardt episode.
Yeah, that's what I'm referencing.
Yes, exactly. They did that too, but it was next to the tin cans.
That's how
It
you
was
do it.
inside one.
Yes.
So, also, another thing on top of this, the Catholic Church said that 12 was the legal age for marital sex.
Okay.
Thank you, Catholic Church, again.
Knocking it out of the park.
Now, the two of them actually skipped the bedding ceremony.
Why?
Thank fuck.
Straight to cake.
That's why Mike wants to get married in the future. Doesn't matter about the wife as long as there's cake.
Just get the cake out of here.
Yeah. So some people think that it was because he was gay for Piers, but I mean, he's 23 years old, and this was a 12-year-old. I'm going to applaud him for not...
You're so mature. It's just not my level.
The married couple headed back to the kingdom with 2 of Isabella's uncles. When they landed in Dover, Piers was there waiting for them. The second that they landed, Edward ran into Piers' arms and kissed him, while Isabella and her 2 uncles stood on the boat watching, mouths agape.
That is awkward.
That's true love.
Is that
right
your
there.
husband?
So when they returned back to London, Isabella was shocked that all of her wedding gifts, including the ones given to her by her own father, Edward had given to Piers, and Piers was walking around the palace in her jewelry.
And the dress.
Now the real
Wanted
shock,
that Keurig.
the real shock was the Queen's coronation. So that's for anyone that's not English. If you don't know what a coronation is when she puts the crown on her head.
Right. And Piers got that?
So no, Piers showed up so decked out that he, this is in quotes, resembled the god of Mars more than an ordinary man. He wore a gown of royal purple silk encrusted with pearls, and was said to be, again, out-fashioning both the king and queen. And Edward gave him the role of carrying the royal crown down the alley to the queen, which was a very prestigious position.
Queen to queen.
Yeah, queen to queen.
Nice.
Just imagine that. Jonathan Van Ness just walking down, looking more fabulous than you ever have in your 12-year-old garb. You just want to go to the American Girl dolls store in Times Square, and here you go. You got a hairdresser showing you up at your own house.
So Piers was also in charge of crowd management for this situation, which he completely fucked up. There were so many people in Westminster Abbey that the wall behind the altar collapsed and killed a knight.
Oh, jeez.
Who's the bridezilla in this situation?
Piers.
Yeah. Sounds it.
Afterwards was their coronation banquet, which was more like the Edward and Piers wedding. The kingdom was financially in the hole, but Edward and Piers planned an elaborate feast, complete with a wine fountain that flowed all day and all night.
Did they try to put the 12-year-old in a cake to pop out of, but then just didn't wheel her out?
And they just settled for a cupcake.
Yeah. Oof.
Instead of hanging the tapestries with the wife's French coat of arms and Edward's coat of arms, Edward and Piers decided to hang Edward's coat of arms and Piers's coat of arms next to each other. So this tactless display was something that Isabella's family definitely noticed. It's like, where's our coat of arms?
Where's Isabella?
Oh, she's in the basement.
So they settled in for a married life. Edward mainly ignored Isabella, and she sent frustrated letters back to her father about her neglect. Frankly, Edward just didn't want to be king. He was like,
I kind of feel okay about that he's ignoring Isabella, you know?
You're okay with it?
Yeah,
Why?
it's kind of, it's like weird. She's like 12 years old.
Well, I mean, it's good that he's not touching her.
Yeah.
That makes him a little better there, but I don't think it's for the right reasons.
True.
I mean, it's not like he bought her a Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's just letting her hang out. He stole all of her jewelry.
Yeah, and he's not paying her like what a queen should get.
Oh, she's like there.
Yeah, she's just like there. Like, I'm
jeez.
giving everything to Piers.
Yeah.
Honey!
The world's most ignored queen.
Yeah. So, Edward just wanted to party. He watched a lot of theater, a lot of actors, his music. He would buy clothes, suck ween, everything.
Sucking ween.
Everything he ever wanted.
Oh, wow.
And all the spending he did on a budget that he didn't have. So he went to a lot of Italian banks to borrow money.
For Italian clothing.
Yeah, he's racking up that credit
Ooh,
card,
it's
you
got
know?
that
That
Gucci.
medieval credit card.
Gotta look good.
Gucci.
Edward just kept giving Piers more and more land, more and more prestige, and Piers kept flaunting that shit. So Piers, who was very outgoing, started making laws in place of the king. So he'd just be like, oh, this is a law now. And all of this, the earls and barons had enough. They were like, they had hoped that Edward would kind of like give up on Piers once he married Isabella, but you know, this wasn't the case. He just kind of got more into Piers.
Oh, great.
This is like the textbook definition of like a beard.
Yeah,
You
really.
know what I mean? Like you get more vigorous once you have like the safety of a fake wife.
Yeah, and I think she's the only example I can think of a 12-year-old female cuck.
So a year after the coronation, England was on the brink of a civil war over Piers. The majority of barons had gotten together and forced Edward to exile Piers again.
This dude must have really sucked. Jeez.
And after the threat of being excommunicated from the church, Edward capitulated and agreed to the exile. But he was not gone for long. It was only about a year Piers was over in France until Edward had bothered the Pope enough to allow him back into England.
Just sitting on the couch, writing letters.
Yep.
Isabel's just watching Netflix, waiting for any attention.
I'm busy writing Piers.
Now, keep in mind, all this time, Robert the Bruce of the Scots is still fucking up Northern England, and Edward's just concerned about getting his butt boy back.
Oh, you mean there's a royal person ignoring actual problems?
What the fuck?
What?
I never heard of that.
4th of July.
Amazing. America's sounds great every day.
When Piers was allowed back, he became even more of a cocky prick. He started to come up with these rude nicknames for the barons.
Oh.
Yes.
And he would never take off his snowshoes, so he'd had servants carry him up the stairs.
So the Earl of Lincoln became Bustbelly.
Oh.
The Earl of Lancaster was the Old Hog. The Earl of Pembroke was Joseph the Jew.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
that's definitely an insult.
The Earl of Gloucestershire was Cuckold's Bird.
That's heavy.
And finally, the Earl of Warwick was called the Dog.
That's not so bad.
Well,
Yeah,
That
but when-
one's not creative.
If I was talking about you like you weren't in the room, and I'm talking to Travis, and I call you the dog, I'm gay.
you're like talking about the Chihuahua poodle mix.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, the dog.
the dog.
The dog.
Yeah, and the Earl of Warwick picked up on that, and he said, "If he calls me a dog, be sure that I will bite him so soon as I shall perceive my opportunity."
That's what I'm talking about. Stand your ground, man.
Yeah, he's like, yo, once I get this army ready, I'm going to bite him in the butthole.
Oh, okay. And he needs
that's
that,
tricky.
probably.
And the Earls did, in fact, bite back. They formed a parliamentary group called the Ordainers. They were 21 elected barons, most of whom were the ones I mentioned above that he was calling nicknames about. Their whole thing was dealing with Piers, dealing with the huge amount of credit that Edward had racked up, and also the Scottish threat on the northern border that was going on.
So the Ordainers were doing all the work, and the most important job, which is come up with a name for yourself, they totally fucked up.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Not very original.
Ordainers.
Sounds so boring.
Yeah.
Edward sees all this shit going on. He's like, oh no, we got to get out of London right now. So as some kind of distraction, or maybe to prove to the Earls that him and Piers could like lead an army, he took 4,000 men to the northern border in the attempts to attack Robert the Bruce.
What orders did they give him? Just have a picnic at the border?
Well, this was also without Parliament's consent. So the king was
Oh.
supposed to get like consent from Parliament to attack, and he was like, I'm just going to go up there and fucking attack him.
But I just finished these uniforms. Everyone's covered in glitter.
So Robert the Bruce sees this glittery army walking up, up north.
They weren't trying to blend in.
Yeah.
Really standing out.
And rather than fight them, they simply just slash and burned crops on the border. So when Edward arrived, he had no supplies for his troops and just aimlessly marched them around until they were starved.
I like
Smart.
that tactic. Good strategy.
The Russians.
4,000 dead
So-
soldiers.
So he walked around until wintertime, and then he had to like face the music and head back to London and face these Ordainers.
How'd it go up there? Fantastic. Why do you ask?
Do you guys have anything to eat?
I think there's a Taco Bell on the way, like maybe in York. I don't know.
Old York?
Yeah, hold York. The second Edward and Piers stepped foot in London, the Ordainers jumped on them. They exiled Piers for a third time, this time stating that Piers was not permitted to live on land anywhere that Edward controlled. I'm sorry, before I said he went to France, he actually went to Ireland and controlled all of Ireland.
What? Piers did?
Piers did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
I'm
well, that
a
went
descendant
well.
of Piers.
Yeah. So now they're like, you can't send him to Ireland that you own. You have to send him somewhere else. Less than a year later, Edward sneaks him back into the country in order to see him on Christmas.
I got you a present, baby.
It's like a Hallmark special.
This is horrible. We're going to get totally reprimanded by It's Pride Month. We're recording this during Pride Month.
Look, I'm just...
No, it's 4th of July.
Well, yeah, that's true, and we have been lying to ourselves. Wow. Bastards we are.
I'll double down on that.
So he sneaks him back for Christmas, but this was really just a way for him to stay indefinitely. Also, an interesting fact, during one of these exiles, Edward had kind of just settled for some vag action because Isabella was pregnant at 16.
All right.
She had also taken on the typical 14th century role as a wife and blindly supported her husband.
No. Don't do it. Don't do it.
When Piers returned, things may have gotten a little kinky with them. A little bit kinky. Mm-hmm. He had already knocked up his wife, and Piers had knocked up his wife, Edward's niece, and the four of them were having group sex.
While pregnant?
Yes.
So pregnant teenage women,
Yeah.
lady, not even women, girls, watching two guys have sex,
Well, here's the thing.
group sex.
Like, all right, I'm not, the whole underage thing, not cool. Like, I'm totally cool with orgies, but when one of those people is your niece?
That's weird.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, right?
Back then, shit was kind of like, I don't even know.
Thank you, Mike.
So the ordainers had enough. They'd seen this guy come back in. They're like, what the fuck is going on here? So a group of barons led by the Earl of Lancaster joined together and ordered the capture and trial of Piers Gaveston. They assembled their armies and began ransacking the country looking for Piers. Now Piers, Edward, and their wives started being chased around the country, hiding in castle to castle. At one point, Edward had simply abandoned his pregnant wife in order to save Piers, just leaving his wife for the invading army to find.
Oh,
So, like, imagine if they were actually, like, gonna kill them, like, be like, oh, there's your wife. Let's kill her.
well, I think that her dead would probably be better than Piers being killed, and then her having to deal with this mopey Edward for the next 40 years of her life. Who's just crying all day on the daybed. I'm assuming they have a daybed.
Yeah, probably. So now Edward and Piers were alone, and Piers had the bright idea of Scooby-Dooing it and splitting up. You go that way, I'll go this way.
Okay.
That's how you solve crimes.
You take the dog, I'll take the women.
Yeah.
So Piers went to Scarborough Castle, which was a fortress that was said to be impregnable. Pregnable. Is that, what's that word? Pregnable.
Well, you're from New York.
Impregnatable.
You're from New York, so it's pronounced tough to get into.
Tough to get into. Yeah. That was
Velvet
really,
rope.
really hard to do. So, part of the tactics of taking a castle back in the day was sieging. Now, you think, like, that's just break down the wall, right?
Yeah.
No. Basically, sieging was, let's stop everything from coming in and out of the castle.
Oh,
Yeah.
your supplies.
So you're
are done.
trying to
Starve
like,
'em.
starve them out of the castle. Like, yeah, you're shooting shit over there, but like you're just not letting any food go in or out.
We
Right.
got your bread.
Yeah. So your castle could be hard to get out of, hard to get into,
How to get out of
and hard to get out of.
Supplies, though.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So Lancaster had essentially put a siege on Piers's castle and had starved him into surrendering. Now, Piers was taken under the custody of the Earl of Pembroke and taken to Piers's own castle that he owned, the castle of Wallingford, where he was held under house arrest until Parliament could give him a trial.
Why don't they just push him off the fucking balcony? You know?
I thought that's what they did back then. There's like no trial, just fucking kill him.
No.
With royals, they. But royalty, it was more of a formality, though.
Yeah.
If they want you dead and you're fucking shit up,
put you
you're
through a
just gonna get
process.
guilty anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, if you're a regular ass peasant, they're gonna just like put you on a pike or something.
they'll do that. Also, you're never gonna be on a balcony high enough to be pushed off of.
True.
If you're a peasant, you know.
Architecture sucked.
Yeah.
Well, you might get like drowned in shit or something.
Yeah, you could
Stoned
get
to
drowned in
death.
shit and stuff, but it's hard to make it look like an accident when you're a peasant, so they just cut right through it.
It's your point.
So a month after this house arrest, Pembroke was like, all right, I've just been sitting here for a while. I'll let my guards do this. I gotta go bone my wife. So he leaves. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go leave. The very next morning, the Earl of Warwick shows up with a group of mercenaries. Now remember, Warwick was the one he called the dog.
Oh yeah.
So he shows up and he yells out to Piers, "Arise, traitor! You are taken!" And Piers looks out the window. He's like, the dog has arrived.
Sassy.
Yeah, right? The dog.
Dogs arrived. Dude, you're under house arrest. You can't do anything.
Well, he thought as the king's favorite, he could never actually be killed. He's like, I am, if you fuck with me, you're fucking with the
Get the get
king.
out of jail free card.
Yeah.
So Warwick was fucking pissed, and he sent his men up to his room, overpowered Pembroke's guards, and dragged Piers out into the courtyard.
Ow, 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 ow.
This is a new Louis Vuitton. Piers was stripped of his belt, his knightly belt, his shoes, and was led into the streets. The crowd of people jeered and threw rotten tomatoes at him.
Boo!
Not the face.
You see, the people didn't really like him either because the earls had stirred up shit. And also, like a lot of these lands that Piers had taken, he wasn't really taking care of his servants or his subjects. He was just like, I own this. We're done.
Cool.
Piers was given a mangy horse, and he was told to ride it 30 miles to Warwick Castle. Every town that he entered, trumpets blared, and all the residents would rise and start mobbing and throwing shit at him.
Jeez.
Ooh, pitchfork shit.
Why can't you just turn the horse around, like go somewhere else?
Well,
He's
got
people.
guards on
Guards
him.
around him? Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
They gave him the worst horse, too.
Yeah, give him that shitty horse. Once he arrived at Warwick Castle, he was thrown in the dungeon, while Warwick awaited Lancaster, Hereford, and Arundel to show up.
The
Arundel.
Ordainers.
Yes, the Ordainers.
Which is the worst barbershop quintet ever.
the Ordainers.
On the streets of Ordainer.
So the second that these other dudes showed up, Warwick sent him a messenger to his cell and said,
You got mail.
"Yeah, you got mail." And then he clicked on his AOL account and it said, "Look to yourself, my lord. The day you shall die your death."
You're saying I'm going to die now?
No, Piers was still all cocky. He was like, "Nah, this fucking dog, he can't kill me because I'm the king's favorite." Ah.
All right.
He made that sound, I assume.
So Lancaster led the trial, and it wasn't so much of a trial as more as of a condemnation, because Piers was not permitted to speak during this trial.
That's a kangaroo court.
Yeah. Piers was forced to his knees while Lancaster yelled, "While he lives, there shall be no safe place in the realm of England." And Piers, after 3 terms of exile, as one disobedient to 3 lawful warnings, will be put to death.
Wow.
Jeez.
Now, there were plenty of brutal ways to kill people back then. One of the slowest, used for the most common people, was hanging. Because you just sit up there and...
Yeah, they didn't really have hanging figured out till a bit later.
Yeah, well, they try to break the neck.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you watch, old westerns or something, when someone gets hung, they usually die because the neck just cracks right away.
Yeah.
The hanging back in the medieval ages.
From a tree, right?
Well, yeah, it could be from a tree, but then they kick the stool out from underneath you, and you're just struggling.
yeah.
You're done.
Suffocate,
A lot of times they actually hang you on a ladder against the wall.
Cool.
And you just sit
Travis,
there
remember
suffocating.
Brendan Fraser in The Mummy?
Yeah. Well,
Like, his neck didn't snap because it was too gorgeous and thick.
yeah, it was a
muscular.
thick as Brendan Fraser neck. So you can't snap that. You don't snap it ever.
Well, he played trumpet for such a long time that he blew out all that airspace on his neck, and then he packed
Yeah.
it filled with jerky to give
That's
him
what you do.
protection.
Now, beheading was relatively quick and reserved for nobility. By Lancaster giving Piers a beheading, it was kind of a favor. Warwick wanted to see him hanged. Piers quickly realized how serious this was and quickly switched off his cocky mode and started groveling and begging for his life. Piers was then dragged up Blacklow Hill by a couple of Welshmen who were deaf to his pleas. Then one of them stabbed him through the heart and the other cut off his head in one clean swing.
Oh, sick.
The Welshman then held up his head to Lancaster, who smiled with approval.
Brutal.
That's pretty metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is there's a lot of blood and guts in these episodes.
So-
it's only gonna get worse.
So we got Piers. He's dead now. Why didn't you ask us a question?
Because that's not who we're roasting.
Well, I
the
know,
subject.
but it seems like we've been focusing on him pretty intensely.
We have been. We
Yeah.
have been.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, maybe, should I have asked the question?
That
Should I
doesn't
do it
matter.
now?
No,
Is it
it's fine.
Is it too late? Can
Hey,
I?
Travis, let me ask you a fucking question. How was your fucking week?
It's good. I didn't get stabbed through the heart and my head didn't get chopped off.
Hey,
So
me
it's
too.
a good day.
Great.
What do you think about when you get your head chopped off? What do you think they're thinking? They're like those 10 seconds they say you have.
You ever almost get hit by a car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're thinking that.
Yeah. Oh shit.
But then they get hit by the car. which is also an axe.
Yeah, but they say you can see for a little bit after you've been beheaded.
I think that's a myth.
I don't know. They tested it in France. That one guy like got his head chopped off and was like, for science,
still alive.
he could blink. Yeah.
Yeah,
Back in the day, you were supposed to like tip your executioner so he'd not fuck the job up.
yeah,
Clean
that's very
cut,
true.
please, sir.
Yeah. So instead of burying the corpse, they just left him there for the wolves to pick at.
Oh,
That's thoughtful.
A few days later, a group of cobblers found it and brought it to Warwick Castle. Warwick refused to take it,
That was rotting flesh.
so they
I don't
just
want that.
yeah. So
sign for this
so the cobblers just brought it back to where they found it and left it.
and made shoes with it.
Well, they didn't take it. It might be cussed.
The next group to find the body was a group of Dominican friars. And
Where is this story going?
I love
Like
it.
the tale of like.
yeah,
is
the
this,
tale of the body.
is this Goldilocks? Like this body is too decomposed. This body is
Just a
too
bunch
warm.
of gross people poking
Yeah.
it with a stick.
So the Dominican friars find it, and they're like, you know what? Eddie's donated so much to the Dominicans. We love him. We love this guy. So they protect the body. But since Piers was excommunicated during one of his exiles, he couldn't have a proper Christian burial. So they stored it in beeswax and sent a message to the king.
I thought you were gonna say they did a Weekend at Bernie's shtick with it for
Kinda.
a
I was
good
just
minute.
I was just thinking the same thing, but you usually need a head for that bit.
No, you just duct tape it back on.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, how do you think Eddie's going to take the death of this cocky little lover? Piers.
Well, he's not happy.
No, he's
No.
I'm
not.
pretty upset.
He's miffed.
We're going to have to find out next week on Roast Mortem Cast.
Oh wow! So I guess that's part 2
Yes.
for Edward II. We got Piers Morgan, who gets his dick ripped off, which is his head, because Piers Morgan's head is a dick.
Yeah.
I like that. It was a two-parter, but you still got a corpse on the first part.
Yeah.
Good job.
I did, yeah. See? Basically this whole thing with Edward II is what George R. R. Martin just ripped off for Game of Thrones. So there's a lot of cousin banging, there's a lot of beheadings.
I've never
See
seen
what
an
I say?
episode.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I only watched one episode. Guess which
yeah, I
one
haven't
it
seen
was?
What, the last one?
Yes.
Oh,
I just watched the last one, so I can say
I
I've
like
seen
that.
it. Yeah.
Winter's coming, that's all I know.
Honestly, wasn't that good. Dragon, not scary.
Winter's coming in my butt.
Yeah, well, someone's named Winter.
icy.
So next week we're gonna get into a lot more death and destruction. There's plenty more battles to be done, and it's gonna be a
Yes.
good old time. You know, there might be some more bodies.
Wow.
A lot more bodies.
Well,
Yeah.
there's guaranteed at least one because it's
Yeah.
post-mortem.
Well, yes. In the words of the Lord, let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, so I guess with that, you'll have to come back and tune in next week, and maybe my hair will look normal. Not that you care. You
Yeah,
people
it's a
don't care.
podcast.
You people don't care about how I look.
Yeah, that's good, Tom.
I think.
Shut up.
I think that was my senior quote. Actually,
Your hair looks good, Tom?
no, not that. It was had to do with hair and beheading. It was like, why worry about your mustache when you're about to lose your head?
ooh, classy.
It's from
Travis-like.
it's from Seven Samurai. There's 7 Japanese people in the whole movie, and they all talk in Japanese, and they move their bodies. It's a cool movie.
Yeah.
The last
I'll
Samurai?
take your word for it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for the coverage of Edward II for Roast Mortem. Just
Yes.
one quick note. So this is a little bit of a downer, but
Oh yeah.
so I just wanted to shout out Not for Human Consumption podcast. Their host Allan, he passed away last week. Don't know any details. That's not important, but he was a fucking solid dude.
Very solid.
He will be missed.
Yeah, he could roast better than
Rest
us.
in peace.
He was.
Yes, he could.
Yeah, solid dude, and yeah. So we're sending our love to family and the Not for Human Consumption podcast guys,
Absolutely.
and rest in peace, Allan.
Condolences.
Stand up guy, and you'll be missed. All right, so sorry to leave you on a down note, but hey, check out our social medias and stuff, and go check out Not for Human Consumption. I think we're gonna go do something benefit for his family, or I don't know. It's being worked out now, but just follow us on social medias if you want to follow up on that. And good night, everyone. Stay
creamy.
Yeah, stay creamy.
dank.
Yeah, stay
creamy.
creamy. Keep your head on.
Yes.
Do that in that order.
Good night.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
And now a poem, not only for your entertainment, but to help your stupid little pea head remember what happened on Roast Mortem Cast last week. A recap poem for forgetful atoners of history's silliest and floppiest boners. Little Edward, ne'er a promising prince, to dig holes and cut bush would not convince. His father take action and sent him to camp. After riding on horses, his dick be damp. King Edward II, his love appears. His kingdom cries upon deaf ears. Oh Longshanks, how we miss you so, as your son blows Piers under mistletoe. It's party time with French baby bride, but in Piers' colon he'd rather hide. Truth be told, he was choice queen, the scoffing song of the Parisian teen. Robert the Bruce takes all of the land, ordainers make sure his lover banned. Off to a place so far away, this earl not work an honest day. Piers will return to stuff royal stocking, but woe the dog and cock come mocking. They'll put his bottom on a lousy horse, and the execution shall take its course. The head of his cockpiece now rolls down the hill. What will become of King Edward's weak will?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Roast Mortem Podcast. I am Tom.
I'm Travis.
I'm Cody.
I'm Mike.
It's part 2 of Eddie the Second tonight.
Yeah, Eddie
Eddie.
Dose.
The second two-parter we've ever done, which means absolutely nothing. It's just another episode to show your parents.
I feel like this episode is way more masculine because it has 2 testes.
How do you mean?
It has dose balls. Every episode, each episode represents 1 ball.
Oh, yes.
This one's gonna hang a little lower because I feel like it's a lot more blood, a lot more killing, a lot more macho shit.
Got that saggy nut.
Yeah, sag nut. All right, how's everyone's week?
I don't care.
Come on.
My week was fine. We got a lot of roasting to do, and I just ate a roast chicken,
Oh, you just did a roast?
the entire thing. Actually,
What was it rubbed with?
there's this new place in town, Dominican food. Take
Oh,
out
fuck
2 days
me.
in a row there. They just give you half a chicken and a bunch of rice and beans.
Dominican food.
Eating delicious white and dark meat.
Yeah, you buy a chicken for 2 eggs. Because then you buy the chicken and the guy gets 2 chickens back.
Yeah, it's an investment property.
Is that how the economy works, Travis?
Yeah, that's pretty much. Cody, what are you, trading coconuts in Hawaii?
Yeah, that's. I'm trading coconuts for Lays.
And the world keeps spinning. How about you, Mike?
Had a good week.
Yeah. I saw your manual shove it on that little mani pad.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had some CBD before I did that.
You know you're never going to get sponsored. Why are you still doing this?
It's fun. That is true,
right.
though.
All right,
I think about it the other day. I was like, why do I do this all the time? It's like wasting my time.
Yeah.
Well, you just get CBD. Sponsors on your knees.
Sip a day.
Let's get Mike a weird sponsor too, like Tiffany's or something like that.
I mean, that'd be nice.
There's just pictures of him hitting 4 stairs with like
A GoPro.
candelabras.
I'm thinking fleshlight. You just like
Fleshlight
stick
would
one
be cool.
Stick one to the front of your board. Just like
That's a useful sponsor.
Oh, let's get Mike. Yes, Bad Dragon. Let's get Mike sponsored by Bad Dragon.
7-Eleven would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's too easy, though.
That's just what every skater is sponsored by 7-Eleven. What's wrong with you?
Free taquitos for life,
Every skater sponsors 7-Eleven.
basically.
Travis, what about you? Why would I care?
I'm just looking at ways to put shit on my car. All week, I'm trying to figure out how to move shit. I'm thinking I'm just going to make a big old pile on top. It's like pile.
Dump it down.
You're going to build an anthill of garbage? You know you only own garbage. You could just throw it out.
No, I'm not going to throw out anything. I have a bunch of wrappers that I keep in a drawer.
Memory wrappers?
Yeah, this is wrappers of things I've ate or used.
Okay.
That has to come with me.
And how many? Never mind. It's disgusting.
Yeah, okay. we're
Absolutely disgusting.
Just tuck it under your car, the wrappers.
You know what? I wish you good luck. I wish you good luck. Okay.
All right, maybe I could make a wrapper sale, and then I don't have to use gas.
good. No. Just take all the wrappers and shove them in your Ford Fiesta's tailpipe and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
The tailpipe is an ingenious place for storage on all cars, even Teslas.
All right. So let's get into King Edward II, Part 2, which is the second part of Edward II.
Yeah, we already know who's on the chopping block, so you don't need to ask me that stupid question.
Why is that the stupid question? It's the entire focus of the goddamn podcast, is it not?
No, the entire focus is to learn about my week and our weeks collectively.
I'm so glad you're moving.
Okay, so wow. So where we left off, Piers Gaveston just died. Heads falling off, rolling downhill.
Shit.
Rest in
And
peace.
remember his body was being moved around and all that shit. We
Yeah,
talked
that
about
was
his
funny.
body.
Yes. He was,
No one would sign for it.
that was, what was that, Fortnite at Bernie's?
So, I mean, primarily Piers had died because Edward couldn't keep the shit on the DL. He couldn't be like, this is in modern times. He was a king in the 14th century. Keep that shit on lock.
Yeah, you need ninja reach arounds back in the day.
Yeah. So, when news reaches Edward, his first reaction was to blame Piers. He said, "By God's soul, he acted like a fool. If he had only taken my advice, he would never have fallen into the hands of the earls. What was he doing with Earl Warwick, who was known to never have liked him?"
He definitely cried himself to sleep that night when he found out.
Yeah, inside he was hurting. He was boo-hooing. Probably doing some sad strokes.
Oh, now you're going to be strong, Edward? Now you're going to fucking put your foot down after he's dead?
Yes, now he's probably doing some sad strokes at night. And for the rest of his life, he would pay the Dominican monks who preserved Piers' body while he desperately sent letters to the Pope to try to excommunicate Piers so he could give him a Christian burial. And eventually, he was successful in burying Piers.
Really? And that's the important thing to do.
Yeah.
Your whole nation's falling apart. Got to put that guy in the right ground.
Yeah, it's got,
I thought you were going to say he was writing to the Pope to ask him to bring Piers back to life. Like, that's not how that works, dude.
come on, Popey, please bring him back.
No, work your
please."
magic.
You've never thought about anything, have you?
You knew it thinking.
Something Edward was never able to bury, though, was his revenge. He became cold and more bloodthirsty and swore that at the right time he would kill the Earl of Lancaster, the one who had condemned Piers.
Okay.
It's kind of like Rambo. Just can't let it go.
Yeah, no.
Isn't there a new Rambo movie coming out right now?
I don't
Last
know.
Blood?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope it's done by DreamWorks and they do it CG.
Yeah, like a shark's tail.
Yeah, that would be
Shrek's
fun.
Rambo.
Except Eddie II was anything but Rambo. I mean, he didn't really look like Rambo.
No, he was more like what was that? This must be the place where Sean Penn is the weakly Robert-looking Smith gentleman, and he's just sad all the time.
Yeah. So after Gaveston's death, things returned to normal. The Earls didn't see Edward at fault. They blamed only Piers Gaveston. So when he died, they just kind of moved on. Must have been a little bit awkward for Edward to be seeing Lancaster, Warwick, and Hereford at this time. Those people just killed the person he loved, and he has to deal with them in court.
Oh, it's awkward.
Yeah.
So on the 1-year anniversary of Piers' death, Edward threw a lavish party, complete with 54 naked dancers, that he paid
Hey.
£2
cool.
each.
2 pounds of what?
Oh! Hey, oh! £2 was a lot back then. That's like a year's worth.
Yeah, you're
of
right.
wages.
Because it used to be divided into like bits and shillings and all that.
2 pence, bob pence, grimpence.
Yeah, that was a week's worth of pay. And these naked people, how naked? And were they tortured naked? Or were they like full body naked? Were they Spanish?
Like
Did they have
strippers?
certain hips? Did they have, or were they like Icelandic blocks or something?
I'm going to say their hips did not lie.
Ooh, Shakira.
They were like
Yeah.
Chippendale dancers.
Yeah.
What do you know
Pretty
about
cool.
that, Mike?
Mike, is there something else you did this week?
Continue.
No, I mean, if you're a Chippendale dancer, just tell us.
Well, he did a different Emmanuel's pad. See what I've done?
It's right next to the Chippendales I work at.
So all these naked dancers, that just kind of sounds like an orgy, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, having a big old orgy.
I'm just here to dance. Don't touch me.
So during this event, a fire broke out and in the king and queen's tent. And the both of them were naked at the time. And Edward quickly picked up Isabella and carried her through the flames to safety.
First thing he's done right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isabella was saved, but her arm was all fucked up and burnt and shitty. Kind of looks like Two-Face.
I call it meat camouflage.
Oh, God.
Yeah, don't cut that one out.
Allan aside, he has actually warmed up to Isabella over the years. She became very supportive, circumstances aside. They had more children. He threw her lavish feasts, and the marriage seemed to be going pretty well.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Would they shake hands before they went to bed at night?
You're a cute kid, Isabella. You know that?
I will bet you now, madame.
Oh, God.
There you go. If you want to save a marriage, all you got to do is decapitate the gay third wheel.
Edward, would you like to get our nails done tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Edward was still a terrible leader, though. The Ordainer uprising, the constant raiding of Scots, and just like the general chaos of, troops being marched across England, turned it into like a post-apocalyptic wasteland. There were highway robbers, rapists, murderers that just roamed the land. Many of them deserters or out-of-work mercenaries that were hired by the Earl's armies. Famine and disease spread through the land due to crop burnings, heavy rain season, and thousands of corpses just lay festering in the streets.
People's got to eat. That goes for the thieves and for the bodies that probably didn't eat. Yeah.
The country was also extremely broke because, as I mentioned in the last episode, Edward was like racking up this credit card bill.
Just throwing parties.
Yeah, he was throwing parties and racking up this credit card bill with these Italian bankers. He was taking out credit.
Oh, yeah. Probably got diamond-encrusted PlayStations all over the place. Tasty stuff.
So Edward decided now is a great time to go march against Robert the Bruce in Scotland again. The Bruce.
The Bruce, yeah.
Give it another shot.
Ew.
This time Parliament gave him approval for the campaign. And unlike the last time that he went up against Bruce, where Bruce just simply starved Edward's army, Bruce decided to meet him on the battlefield.
And bring Cliff Bars.
Oh, great way to feed your army. It's a mushy granola bar.
Yeah, pretty much. They didn't have any molds, and they had plenty of feet to step on dough.
The battle was an absolute bloodbath. Edward had no fucking clue what he was doing against Robert's seasoned warriors.
Oh, really? The ditch digger had no combat experience? Tell me more.
Yeah, no. Robert the Bruce actually went one-on-one with the 16-year-old Earl of Hertford's nephew, Henry de Bourbon. Robert cleaved Henry's skull in two with a battle axe.
Holy shit.
At least it's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Scots were forming a pike formation called a schlittron. Schlittron.
Slitron. That sounds like
Schlittron.
that sounds like a
robot.
roller coaster in a German amusement park.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it sounds like a sex machine.
This was basically a tight circle of pikemen holding pikes that were 14 to 15 feet long, and they formed something that kind of looked like a hedgehog. Right.
Cool.
So this formation was specifically designed for anti-cavalry. So, the horse runs up, and you got 15 feet to stab the horse, or the guy on the horse
Backs up.
Falls over, yeah.
Yeah. So what did Edward do? He just ran his cavalry right at them.
Oh,
Oh.
I was not scared.
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Yeah,
horse
scissors
kebab.
beats rock all the time.
So his cavalry was absolutely demolished. Tons of dead horses. Yeah. Not good.
That always makes me cry.
Well, they weren't going to starve.
Yeah, there you go.
Hot dogs for everyone.
Edward woke up the next day and he blamed all of his commanders of cowardice, calling them traitors. And in some kind of death wish, Edward actually took off his silk gown that he was wearing and put on some fancy pants armor and hopped on his horse and rode into battle.
But there was no battle.
Oh, it's still going on.
Oh, what's
Yeah, it's still going on.
Okay, I thought the battle was over and he was just going to ride out into a dead field.
No, it's day 2.
I'm
I
too late.
misheard and thought he was wearing a silk gown underneath his armor. I was like, wow, that's comfortable.
Maybe. I mean, this is Edward here. He's not going to day one of like Coachella or Burning Man. He's got the whole weekend pass.
He already did that. Yeah.
So he actually went into battle, hacking and slashing until the horse was killed out from underneath him.
Oh, jeez.
At this point, some Scottish dudes rushed him and tried to capture him. But luckily, Edward's shield bearer, Roger Northbrough, stepped in and let the king scurry away. So
And
they kind of
they
took the
captured
shots.
Roger.
Yeah, they captured Roger.
Oh, now he probably is dead now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you think about it.
I would imagine he's dead. Unless if he, like, stumbled into some weird ancient, like,
Tomb.
where he had, like, a chalice.
Eternal life.
We can't prove it either way. He's probably dead.
Yeah. I was going to say first man on the moon.
Oh,
Stay there.
Maybe.
They tossed him up there.
Yeah.
The moon is made of immortal cheese.
Well, why do you think the Scots do that big, like, they throw the telephone pole? They're trying to throw people to the moon.
Never got that activity. I'm sure it does something good for
That's
your
a real
low back.
thing? They, like, toss telephone poles?
Yeah, you never seen that?
No.
Yeah, it's like a competition where they pick up
Yeah.
like the bottom of a pole and they
Oh.
balance it and they blast it.
I thought you were, like, talking about, like, an actual telephone pole. Like, why would you do doing that?
Like some drunk
Destroy your
Scottish
own,
guy.
yeah. Destroy your own telephone pole.
Yeah,
Did you know the object of that game is to actually throw it the straightest, not the furthest?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's weird.
well, that's lame.
Wait, so they're trying to, like, throw it up in the air and, like, have it land on their heads?
It's like the bottle flip.
No. They're trying to throw it and have it land as close to 12 o'clock as possible.
Oh, I got that. Yeah, I could do that. That's fucking easy.
Yeah, what fucking Papa John's?
You just need some big muscles. That's all you gotta do. Just lift up.
Yeah, you just need superhuman strength, Mike. That's about it.
I feel like I've dropped breadsticks at 12 o'clock before.
Yeah, pretty much. So the king scurries away, and then he finds another horse. He mounts that and starts flailing again. More Scots rushed in and tried to capture him, when all of a sudden the Earl of Pembroke showed up and just grabbed the king's reins and pulled the horse out of the battlefield. He's like, no, dude, what are you doing? Get out of here. You have no fucking clue what you're doing.
He's like a little kid in a kiddie pool.
I thought he was a pro jouster.
Yeah, it's like it's Adult Swim. Gotta go home.
Yeah. Oh.
So the rest of Edward's army followed suit and they ran for the hills. In the end, 500 English knights and nobles were killed or captured, and thousands of Edward's foot soldiers were killed.
Jeez.
Not bad.
When you lose knights, like, knights are expensive. You know what I mean? 500
Yeah.
knights they lost.
Yeah, and they don't have any money anyway.
Yeah. After this loss, the situation in England got even worse. The Great Famine of 1315 began, killing 5% of the English population.
Oof.
People started eating dogs, horse, and even resorted to cannibalism.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
There were so many dead bodies that they could not bury them all, so again, more festering corpses in towns and...
I thought that was good to go buffet style. There were so many bodies that everyone else got real fat and started.
Yeah.
And that's when they really perfected the ranch.
Come on down to Golden Corral.
Would you guys ever eat a dead body if it came down to it?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, you're posing it like if it came down.
It's the
to
end
it.
of the world, and it's us four in a room together.
Oh,
Who's
I
getting
wouldn't-
eaten first?
I wouldn't kill a fucker to eat, but if a fucker was dead, I'd nibble on him.
What'd he die of, though?
Yeah, I gotta watch it happen. I gotta watch them stub their toe to death or something. Like I no diseases.
Yeah, I don't want him to be like, oh, I fell into this pile of needles that have AIDS on
Adds
them.
flavor to it.
Flavor, eh? Well, why not? It's the end of the world.
Yeah. You
right.
only live once when it's the end of the world, and every other time. So as people starved, Edward continued his lavish lifestyle. Obviously, this made his subjects really, not like him.
All right, not surprising.
Because Edward was such a failure and so far from the strong warlord that his father was, rumors started to circulate. And a one-eared man named John Dradras appeared in Beaumont Palace and claimed that he was the true heir to the throne. All right, so this is what his claim. So you see, he was the real son of Edward I, and Edward II was a mere imposter and not royal blood. And he actually challenged the king to prove himself by combat.
Oh.
And now, so this his story was this, that when he was a baby, one of the queen's nurses had left him in a pig pen, and one of the pigs had gnawed off his ear.
Oh.
So the nurse was terrified, and he swapped the king, the prince, with a carter's son. So the reason why Edward II was so fond of common things like hedging and ditching was because he was really the son of a carter, not Aaron Carter or Nick Carter.
Right.
Got it.
Guy that has carts.
You know, I buy it.
Yeah, why
The old
not?
baby
Why not?
swap.
Yeah.
Fucking stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
So Edward summons this one-eared dude to the court, and when he enters, Edward sarcastically says, "Welcome, my brother."
Oh,
to which
I like
Jo-
that. Cheeky.
To which John says, "Thou art no brother of mine, but a false thou claimest to be the kingdom for thyself."
He speaks more like a king.
Yeah.
He gets it.
He's a lot of thines and thanists and banus.
Yes.
And penis.
And
Vanuses.
extra thist at the end of things. Thist.
Thou hast not a drop of royal blood from the illustrious Edward, but I am prepared to prove against thee.
All right. The
They're gonna take a blood
23andMe
test.
on off.
Yeah, I would have cleared all of it up.
So Edward was like, "No, fuck that," and he puts this John guy on trial for inciting sedition. Eventually, John admits to being an imposter after probably hours or days of torture.
Oh, come
And
on.
he said that the devil took the form of a cat and told him to had put him up to do this, claiming the throne.
So what happened to his ear then?
I don't know, I probably got chewed off by a pig when he was a baby.
Oh, right.
I believe,
forgot.
yeah,
that
that's
part.
the one I believe.
Yeah, that's a detail that could stick.
With this confession, they obviously let him go. No, I'm just kidding. They hanged him and then threw his body in.
Nice.
They hanged him and threw his body into a pyre along with his cat.
They had to throw the cat in.
Well, dude, he's a devil cat, isn't
Yeah,
he?
true.
Is he
Yeah.
not devil cat?
True.
I mean, I'm not one to kill cats, but
It's a devil
you
cat.
give me devil cat, that thing's going.
No, keep the devil cat. It's the best cat. It could go. Hell yeah, Satan.
Dude, that thing's going to send me to the DMV and be like, my name is Travis Lee. I'm a rapist.
No, it's not gonna do that.
Yeah, that's what basically what it said to the other guy to do something bad.
Dude, he had one ear. Well, the cat was like, "You need ears to hear." I'm a cat. So throughout all the dumb years of Edward's rule, Isabella had been Edward's biggest supporter, and probably even more so now that he was just pounding her and not
Yes.
Piers.
It just takes a little attention, guys.
Yeah, that's all. That's all it was. Is that she just wanted attention. I mean, Edward did have a few little side dick on throughout the years.
Well, you can't question King's side dick.
Yeah, but like again, discretion. Those side dick things, they're not even written about in the history books.
That does sound like a legitimate king's name. King Side Dick.
I am side dick the 7th. I will conquer your anus.
Yeah, which is not at all how it sounds because it's about a king in space.
Space King.
Oh, I love Space Kings.
Then in 1321, in walked Hugh Despenser the Younger.
Hugh
Oh, yes,
Despenser.
this boy.
You remember Hugh from the last episode? He's part of that night
How
ceremony.
could I forget Hugh Despenser?
Yeah, he's a condom Pez machine.
Hugh Despenser was, in the words of chroniclers, a sodomite, even, it is said, with the king.
Ooh.
Boop in the brow hole.
Okay, so side dick, a sodomite.
Sodom dick.
Sodomite, sodomite not.
Ooh, I like that.
Hugh was a whole different beast to Piers Gaveston. Hugh came from a major royal English family, and he controlled most of South Wales. And his ambition was way, way, way more than Piers. And he was way more mean than Piers.
Dude, well, Piers was mean without trying to be. He was catty.
He was catty.
He was very catty. Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, this guy had a very short temper. He had a record for beating women and murdering his enemies.
All right.
All of those cases that the murdering and beating and raping, Edward had pardoned once he became his royal butt boy.
Oh,
Wow.
that's all it takes?
Yeah.
Chris Brown's got to find this guy.
It's who you know and who you blow.
Right. So, anyway, his relationship with the king was very much the same as Piers. He became the middleman to the king and swayed Edward's opinions. And he was able to sap out far more land than Piers had ever done by blowing the king.
Because if you have sex with a guy and then do the chores, then you have a clean house. If you just have lots of sex with a guy, the house is still dirty.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells.
You
Yeah.
want to wake up in the morning, doesn't matter if it's man or woman, you're like, go make me eggs.
Yes.
And they should be like, yeah, sure.
Hit the toilet and then make me eggs.
Oh, I'm glad you said something. I was hoping that we would have eggs today.
So while the queen eventually accepted Piers and kind of what they were doing, remember I talked about they had these like weird orgies with his niece?
Yeah.
Despenser and her did not get along, and they formed an impossible wedge between the king and the queen.
Oh.
Edward began giving Hugh Despenser and his father, Hugh Despenser the Elder. So you've got the Elder Despenser, the expired condoms, and the younger.
Got it.
Yeah, the goat intestine one.
Yeah.
And then the Durex.
So
Not sponsored.
he was giving both Hugh the Younger and his daddy more and more land and power and influence. And the earls hated him even more than Piers Gaveston. Lancaster, the dude that killed Piers, Hereford, and Mortimer, these families, refused to talk to the king when Despenser was around.
Also catty.
Also catty, yeah.
A little bit of drama in the kingdom.
Yeah. Roger Mortimer especially hated Hugh Despenser. The Despensers and the Mortimers were both royal families and mortal enemies. The Despensers had eventually taken large swaths of South Wales, as I had mentioned, executing the leader of a Welsh group named the Marchers.
Marchers, ordainers.
So the Mortimers, the Herefords, and the Lancasters united with the Welsh Marchers against the Despensers in South Wales. And again, the country was close to civil war.
Okay.
They demanded that the Despensers be exiled, and Edward was forced to exile Hugh Despenser for a few years. Again, you know what happens when he's like, hey, yeah, exile.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it before. He's
Sending him
it's
on
not his
vacation.
first breakup.
So unlike, Piers, who just like went off to Ireland and France, like, I'm jousting. Hugh Despenser became a pirate in the Irish Sea for
There
about
you
a year
go.
and a half.
That's cool.
Would you say he was an ass pirate? Was he out there stealing doubloons? Yeah. That was a debooty, excuse me. Deboots, yes. Well, I was trying to make doubloons and booty work
He was
together.
eating
Cody.
pirate's
You-
booty.
You understand? I was portmenting.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mike, we know how much you love pirates booty.
Disgusting.
That is a bad treat.
Trader
Worst
Joe's.
snack ever.
Excellent Trader Joe's treat.
It's terrible.
So same year in 1321, the country's tense. And with the Despensers out of the way, the Lancasters and his earl friends started marching on the Despenser land in South Wales. They're like, oh, this guy's out of the picture. Let's just fucking take all of his land.
You lose points for saying the dispensers were out of the way and not the dispensers were dispensed.
Cody, that's your bag.
Yeah. I'm the one that just
I know, I'm
yells.
enforcing it. I'm enforcing my bag.
No, I appreciate you enforcing that bag because we all know here, all of our listeners know that Travis could barely read.
I am learning, dude. I have the Muzzy. I have the ESL.
I can't read it at all.
Because English is my second language. I don't know if you knew this.
He uses a size 36 font when he reads this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say, like, most people don't know there's huge cue cards in the studio for Travis.
No, it's my second language.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
What's your other language? The first one.
Travis.
That's your name.
No, that's my language.
You're being rude now.
Well,
Now
say
you're
something in
lying.
Travis.
I'm not lying.
You know that lying is rude.
Do you know that lying is not in Travis land? It's not even rude.
Can you
so,
speak
know.
Travis right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whoa!
Stop it. Stop it.
Whoa!
I can't wait for them to build that wall.
All right. So where were we here?
I have no idea.
So the Lancasters and all these like earls and the Marchers are like, let's grab all of Despenser's land while they're dispensed. Okay.
Yes.
And Edward sends his pregnant wife, Isabella, to the Earl of Bradlemere Castle. When the Queen arrived, her security detail found the gates to be sealed shut. She called out to the Earl, and his wife showed up at the wall and said, "My husband's not home."
Sure.
So she's like, "Hey, I'm the Queen. Let me in." Like, yeah, I don't care. Just let me in.
Is she like 13 now?
Well, I think she's probably in her late teens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe early twins. Still young babes. So she calls out, she's like, let me in. And the lady Battlemere was like, no, my husband said go away.
Okay.
Like very Monty Python-esque. I never said I was going to. My husband's gone off on me. So the queen's like, all right, security detail, go forward. And all of a sudden, a barrage of arrows were shot, and 6 of Isabel's men lay dying.
Oh, no.
You can't fire fucking arrows at the queen.
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
So Isabella runs back and tells Edward, and he begins a siege on the castle.
Oh.
Eventually, Lady Battlemere surrenders, and ignoring the pleas of mercy, Edward hangs the castle constable and 13 of their men on the castle walls.
Damn.
He also takes Lady Battlemere and her children and threw them in the Tower of London.
I heard it's not as bad up there as they make it out to be.
It's like the royal land.
Oh, really?
It's like, all right, so if you're a royal, you expect like a Hilton. Tower of London's like a Motel 8.
Yeah, it's like that, but then there's also been that that steam that they got going in the Rainforest Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
It tends to naturally happen there.
So the king took this as an opportunity to fight back against Hugh Despenser, and also like fight back the fact that they exiled him, right? Like, oh yeah, well now I can fight you because you kicked out my boy.
Yeah, that's what it said.
I like how you said that in native Travis dialect.
Yeah. So he's like, all right, I can go fight, and also he could exact his long-awaited revenge on the Earl of Lancaster. So he sends a letter to Lancaster declaring him treasonous, and that he had not forgotten the wrong that he'd done to his brother Piers.
Brother Piers. He's got to stop using that terminology.
weird.
Yeah.
Like penis and anus. Like,
Yeah.
that's not your brother.
No, it constitutes no brothers.
They were just
No.
two bros hanging out.
All right, maybe if you said my bro Piers,
Yeah, bro Piers.
it's fine.
God, I hate that.
Bro Piers Morgan. I don't think Piers Morgan has ever been called a bro.
I don't know. He's
a douche.
any friend of Piers Morgan is probably an idiot.
All right, so the Civil War was bloody and vicious as Edward and Despenser. Oh my God! All right, I forgot to mention something. So he brings back Despenser. He's like, "Yo, come on back. Stop being a pirate. We're back in England now."
Okay.
Because
I got plenty of booty for you right here. You don't need to be on the sea for it.
Yeah. So this Civil War was bloody and vicious as Edward and Despenser pursued Lancaster and the other earls that had wronged Edward, and a lot of them met their end on the battlefield. So Roger Mortimer was captured and thrown into the Tower of London. The Earl of Hereford had an extremely gross way to meet his end. He was storming a castle in Wales, crossing over a bridge, and a Welshman thrust a lance right through his anus.
Ew, Welshman.
Yes. Yes.
Welshman. Disgusting.
Oh!
But there's been a lot of anus thrusting recently.
This is a violent one.
This is
Some
more
real
than
kinky
violence.
shit. Real
Yeah, this
kinky
one
shit.
drew blood.
Jeez.
You think kink.com is bad? My goodness.
It's freaky stuff.
So eventually, Despenser captured Lancaster, and he stripped him of his royal clothes and paraded him around the streets of York to the king. People spat at him and threw snowballs, just completely demoralizing. There was probably little rocks in the snowballs.
I'm imagining that when you say he was stripped of his royal clothes, he dressed him immediately in Old Navy clearance rack. It's worse than being naked.
That's what I dress in.
I know, I'm making fun of you.
His trial was held before Edward II. He was not permitted a verbal defense because Piers was not able to speak during his trial. His sentence was to be hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Oh.
But Edward communed the sentence to just a simple beheading.
Simple.
Simple.
Yeah.
Clean cut.
Yeah. So basically, he just reenacted the way Piers Gaveston was killed. So
Yeah.
Lancaster was headed up a hill on a mule and beheaded like a thief and the vilest rascal.
Ooh, vile rascals.
Vile rascal.
I love that.
Ooh.
The only difference is that Edward had told the executioner to use a dull axe.
Ow.
So it took 3 to 4 axe swings to sever his head
God.
from his body.
Imagine the first one just hitting you and just fucking barely making a dent, kind of.
Bonk.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'd prefer the lance up the anus.
Yeah, right? Fuck.
The death of Lancaster sent shockwaves through the noble society. Lancaster was very rich and powerful, and he was the first English earl to be executed, besides Piers, in almost 300 years.
Okay.
So,
Well, I mean, Piers didn't count anyway.
yeah, it didn't count.
No one cared
Yeah.
about Piers.
Lancaster was also Queen Isabella's uncle, and she had been forced to watch his head be chopped off with a butter knife.
Did she have to clap, too?
Jesus.
Probably. Yay!
Oh, yeah, uncle.
That guy got me the sweetest Polly Pocket when I was a little kid.
Dude.
Do you ever have Mighty Max?
Right. He got
love
me a
Mighty
sweet
Max.
Polly Pocket right for my wedding gift. Then Piers took it.
He played with it all night. I just wanted to even read the instructions. He took those away.
He let me keep the packaging.
So now, Isabel, who was now 28,
Oh, shit, growing up.
yeah, she was starting to get pretty jelly of Despenser, but also crazy nervous. You know what I mean?
Why was she nervous?
Because, like,
Yeah.
her husband's, like, chopping off heads of, like, her uncle.
So
and,
she's like thinking it's going to come back to bite him?
Yeah, well, she's... Basically, Edward's just listening to Despenser. Whatever Despenser says,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
I love the king.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. So, Despenser, in her words, was an intruder on her marriage. She had also said that Hugh had wished to dishonor her in every possible means. Now, whether or not Hugh tried to sexually assault her, we don't know. Because Hugh had a wife, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he wasn't just, you know, banging the king.
Well,
Bang
Yeah.
the king.
Well, you said he was a sodomizer, right? That's what he does, just sodomize people.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got a butthole.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
got a
Travis.
butt. He's probably there.
Yeah, probably. You know what? I just thought of a great idea.
But
So, you know how fleshlights look? This is
Yeah.
not sponsored by
No.
Fleshlight. But you know how fleshlights look? You could turn a Pringles can into a super discreet fleshlight.
what are you talking about?
Well,
They
if you
already
just want to
resemble
sodomize on the
flashlights,
go.
What?
If you want to sodomize on the go, you have a discreet fleshlight. It just looks like you're humping a Pringles can.
That's not sodomizing. That's fucking snacks.
Dude, but if it's like a butthole, it's a
You gotta put a butthole in there?
put a butthole in the Pringles can.
Guess what? You look like a guy who's having sex with snacks.
Dude,
That's what you look like.
the Pringles man is sexy.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He's got a mustache.
He's got no ears. He's disgusting.
Yeah, he can't hear you when you're like sneaking up on him.
He looks like Richie Cunningham in a disguise. He's not.
Cummingham.
Do you think him and the Monopoly guy have like a thing
Oh,
going
they're
on?
related, probably.
I don't know.
All right, I just want to know. Is there porn out there? Send it to me.
Send it to just Travis Legion.
Yeah.
Do not send
the
it to
roast
us.
mortem.
I want to know. Send it to Rose Mortem.
Thanks. Yeah, if you ever see someone fucking snacks, then that would be the first time you've seen Travis.
So Edward had slowly been taking away Isabella's monthly income lands and had been giving them to Despenser and Eleanor, his niece. Now, you remember those weird orgies with Piers and his wife? Well, now he's getting a little bit like one-on-one with his niece.
Oh,
Edward.
What?
Edward is getting one-on-one with his niece.
Dude, I'm not surprised, man. Why are you? Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised.
Albert Einstein did it. We did him, and that was like 400 years later.
Dude, that
That's
wasn't
cousin
his
fucking.
niece.
That's
That was a cousin
That's
fucking.
different. This is niece fucking. That's
I feel like that was
weird.
normal back
That's
then.
actually
That's all they
removed
did.
by one more genome.
Yeah, but there's like an age difference, which is like weird to me a little bit.
That is weird. He's definitely a pedophile. Look, I'm not going to judge a guy doing that because Travis has sex with snacks.
This was theoretical sex with snacks. I have not
Hypothetical,
done them.
Travis.
Whatever, dude. What are you? This is a theory, dude. This is like the theory of relativity.
Theory means
That's
you're
an invention.
planning to do it.
I'm planning to do it. This is a theory. This is like, okay, are there elements in the world? Yes.
My hypothesis is that you get arrested.
All right. Whatever. You're gonna be.
it.
You're going to be laughing or you're going to be crying when I'm in the movie theater eating Pringles, but I'm actually having sex with my can.
I'm going to
Why
be
is he gonna
crying.
be crying?
I'm going to be crying. What are we watching? Titanic again?
Well, because you won't be getting action and I'll be getting action. You know what I mean?
I don't want to have sex with any snack.
I'm not having sex. I'm having sex with an analog that's discreetly hidden in the snack.
This is ridiculous.
Hold on. Okay, so Isabella's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I've had enough with this English bastard. But remember, this is the 14th century, and a woman was not meant to do, things outside of her husband's bequest.
Yeah, where's she gonna go?
Yeah, well, she's there to serve her husband, and if a dude was caught boning like a whore or something, that's fine. And
Nothing happened.
nothing happened. If a woman was caught doing the same thing, she suffered torture or even death. But the queen wasn't any just normal woman. She was a badass bitch. You know what I mean? In like a cool way.
Are you trying to get us Gen Z listeners?
Yeah, she's like Beyonce Knowles.
Okay.
That's the wrong generation.
That's our generation.
Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. It's sad.
No.
that
It's
that's
like
the
Billie
case.
Elliot.
Yeah,
she's
that's
like
fine.
Billie Elliot.
She's just like Billy Elliot, the little boy who wants to dance in Ireland.
No, the one that's a pop singer.
Oh, yeah. That's different.
Yeah. Okay, so Edward had actually sent Isabella to France to smooth over some disputes over English lands, and her brother was now king, Charles the Fourth. So she's like, let me go talk to my bro, figure this shit out.
Yeah, why not?
Makes
Send some
sense.
blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd send the blood relative over.
Yeah.
So Isabella had simply just refused to come home.
Perfect.
She was like, all right, dude, like, you can keep getting ass blasted and banging your niece. I'm just going to stay over in France.
Wait, how is the niece ass blasting?
Well, he was still hanging out with his knights, jousting.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, another thing, she actually took her son, the heir to the throne, Edward III, with her.
Ooh.
So she's like, you're not getting your son. He's coming with me.
Give me that boy.
Give me the boy.
Give me the boy.
So now, remember, I said this is a very dangerous move for a woman to make in this time period. Now, Despenser told Edward to declare her as enemy of the state.
Ooh.
While Edward was kind of wish-washy and wrote letters to her begging her to come home.
I'm assuming Despenser did that while they were sucking each other off or something. You know what I think you should do? That wife of yours, she's gone. Let's just keep her away.
And he's like,
Enemy.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
So there's Edward writing like, oh, please come back. Oh, I really love you. Please. Oh.
He sends it off like an owl, like Harry Potter.
Oh, I like that.
So Hugh and Edward had asked Charles IV to actually extradite her and Eddie III back to England by force.
Oh.
It's like, yo, please, you gotta send our baby boy and wife home. Mm-hmm. And Edward IV's like, no, dude, this is my sister, and you guys are creepy, and I'm just gonna let her stay here.
Oh.
Got it.
She's tired of you.
Yeah. So I remember that guy, Roger Mortimer. He was the Hugh Despenser's mortal enemy that was
Yes.
locked
Yeah.
up in the Tower of London. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, he had escaped a few months prior to Isabella's arrival in France from the Tower.
Oh, wow.
And him with a bunch of uneasy earls that were also in France that, like, either left or were exiled, kind of formed this little group, like a cabal in France, to be like, hey, we want to go back to our kingdom.
Uneasy Earl sounds like a ska band.
Yeah, that's... yes, it does.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Isabella's like, oh, shit, there's, like, people here that just want to take back England. Let me go see what's up with that. And Isabella takes one look at the battle-scarred Roger Mortimer and gushes like a river.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Roger Mortimer looked exactly like Roger Moore. He looked more like Roger Moore to her.
Wow. Ooh, I like that.
Ooh.
You can go home with just here.
I'm going to lay down for the rest of the episode. Bye. You earned it.
So Mortimer was everything Edward was not. He was strong, manly, courageous, decisive, heterosexual.
Oh.
That helps with a relationship status.
Yes. And she was all over that Mortimer D.
Oh, okay.
Now, they were trying to keep it sly at first, but, because again, like, a woman faced death if she was caught in an affair.
But she's also in France.
Well, yeah, but word still spread around Europe fairly quickly.
All right.
It's all royals. They're catty.
The French are gossipy.
Yeah.
Suit yourself.
So they tried to stay discreet, but it eventually just came out that, the two were banging. And people kind of turned a blind eye because they were like, oh, Edward hasn't been a piece of shit to her. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
like
That's good for the goose.
usually they'd be like, stone her! But they're like, I don't know, this guy's
like-
kind of a jerk.
Yeah, usually we would, but like I remember when she got married to that guy, he was having sex with his best friend on top of a cake.
It was awkward for everyone.
They handed out bubbles instead of rice.
Is that frosting or semen? So now the two of them, Isabella and Mortimer, secretly began to raise an army of exiles to take back the kingdom. Now, Edward's sappy pleas for Isabella to return home continued. But in her absence, he continued to shower Despenser and his niece with wealth that he redistributed from his wife's holdings. She's like, please come back, but I gave your Ferrari to my niece, who's blowing me right now.
Jesus Christ.
Despenser tells Edward to talk to the Pope about getting the marriage annulled, which it seemed like Edward usually went to the Pope and just complained when he didn't have his way. Like, that just kind of seemed to be a reoccurring thing. Yo, Pope, help me.
I'm not your therapist. I'm a holy deity.
This time, in his note to the Pope, he added a bribe of 5,000 florins in his letter, and the Pope had had enough. Over the years, Edward had been fucking up his country and taking these side chicks and dudes, and the Pope's like, nah, I'm not gonna do this. And also, the people of England also was like, dude, this guy's fucking nuts. Like, we agree with Isabella. Like,
We don't like you
sucks.
anymore, dude.
Yeah.
You just keep buying pinball machines and putting them everywhere and having sex with carrots in the grocery store, putting them back on the shelf. You can't do that.
I like the phrase "the Pope has had enough." I like to imagine him saying that in the third person, just in his chair with the pointy hat, like the Pope has had enough.
Storms off into his royal room, blesses himself. Wink.
Chugs holy water.
Little boy runs in.
chugs holy water.
That's what you do.
I just imagine him walking out like Stone Cold Steve Austin, chugging holy water and just spraying it over the crowd.
Yeah, carbonated shit.
Fuck yeah!
And that's the bottom line.
So Edward was done getting favors from anyone, the church, other nobility, his subjects. Okay, so this is Isabella talking about her situation. She says, I feel that a marriage is the joining together of a man and a woman, maintaining the undivided habit of life, and that someone has come between my husband and myself, trying to break this bond.
Oh no.
I protest that I will not return until the intruder is removed, but discarding my marriage garments, I shall assume the robes of widowhood and mourning until I am avenged.
That was a little long-winded.
Yeah.
Just say, fuck this guy. I'm coming home.
Yeah.
Fuck this dude!
His name is Despenser. Get rid of him.
So Isabella started walking around in all black with a veil, as if Edward had died,
Oh, my God.
and in her heart, he had died.
Did she start listening to Atreyu?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very emotional. She started rocking that fringe. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you must.
And Mortimer's like, quit that shit out, man. What the fuck?
Shopping
Let's
at Hot
bang."
Topic.
So she began telling young Eddie III to follow and learn from Roger Mortimer, who is far more of a warrior than his own father was. Now, Eddie III was the model example of a boy stuck between two fucked up parents. His father would send him letters directly trying to coax him back to England, while he felt duty-bound to obey his mother. And
bound.
yeah, dude,
How good was the post at this time?
it was great. It's probably
Well, they were able to have a sneaky postman, just be like, "Hey, Eddie, don't tell your mom you got this. Don't tell your mom anything about this. Just give me some money. You gotta buy it sausages and baguettes."
I mean, that's pretty much how it was. They just send some dude. You'd be like, deliver this only to the hands of my boy.
Oh, amazing! Now you pay 42 cents for a stamp to get something somewhere, but you could just use email. Back then, it was a whole salary just to get one letter.
Yeah. Think about all the jobs we lost over the eons.
Way to go to the internet.
Yeah, fucking internet. So he's getting these letters from his dad, and he feels duty bound, and now his mom is telling him to, like, listen to Roger Mortimer, like, the ultimate stepdad figure, and he, like, resented Roger Mortimer. He's like, I don't want to listen to this dude. He's not my dad. Fuck you, Mom. He's like 13 or something, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
fuck
so
you, Mom.
He doesn't know the whole story. He's being told lies his whole life.
Yeah.
His dad's just like, hey, I'm pretty cool, but also he's not because he's having sex with everything.
He just got like a Blink-182 record.
And he's constantly digging ditches.
Yeah.
And just having other people do it for him.
Limp Bizkit.
He's not a good dad.
No.
You make your son dig the ditch.
Get out there in the field.
Learn how to be.
So Isabella and Mortimer start making allies for the army. The first was the Count of Hainault. Hainault. It's some French.
Why don't you spell that?
Hainault.
Okay.
It's like Hanes, like underwear.
Okay.
And then not that.
Not that.
Not that.
Not that. Put on your underwear. Not that.
No, not that.
Okay.
So Isabel arranges a marriage between Edward III and his daughter Philippa.
Philippa?
Yeah, Philippa.
Okay.
Philippa. The whole arrangement between his marriage is that this count would have to supply troops for their invasion. He agrees. Because, like, this dude's like a nobody, and he's going to be married into, like, the royal family of England. He's like, fuck yeah, I'll give you some fucking troops.
Okay.
Oui, madame, Pucelle, let me give you a customary croissant.
A customary?
Yeah, customary croissant as a royal... It's like a ring, but it doesn't meet all the way.
Now listen, I'm from France. You're going to want to listen to me right now. It's customary that you put this in your mouth. You understand?
Yeah, you know, we talk French.
Of course. Oui.
So, yeah, he agrees. She also then acquires mercenaries from Prussia, which is Russia and Germany. Prussia's.
Got it.
Then she finally makes a deal with Robert the Bruce.
Oh,
He's still kicking.
He's around. He's just taking over more land.
He's an old man, but he's around.
He's a Bruce, man.
Yeah. And he's like, yo, if you let us and our son, like, come in and, like, recapture the throne and, like, don't cause us problems, we'll recognize you as the King of Scotland. So he's like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah.
That sounds like a good deal.
Well, he was already, like, in that bag anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he was in Scotland, and, like, Scottish people call him the king, but, like, none of the other royals recognized him as a king.
It's a good proposition because he's already on board.
Yeah.
Because he's going to fuck up Northern England anyway.
Yeah, he's going to do it anyway.
He's just doing it. Oh, you mean I could get some out of this?
They got Iron Brew up there. Aye. So the queen also had her fellow earls in England that had sympathies towards her, and that would help facilitate the landing of the invasion. Now, obviously, Edward had spies that were reporting back to him after all of these moves, and so he declared that any of these rebels were treasonous, and if they stepped foot in England, they would face execution.
Fine.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So on September 22nd, I'm using my mouth moves.
Your mouth is moving too much. It's overspinning.
Well, you know what? I'm learning still.
Second
ESL.
language, right?
Some
ESL.
peanut butter on top of your mouth.
Dude, that would make it worse. What am I, a dog? What, I just put peanut butter on my nose.
Yeah, we're not trying to make him look like he's talking. We're trying to make him talk.
So on September 22nd, 1326, the Queen's army of 1,500 men landed in Suffolk, England. William and Despenser were shitting a brick. They ordered 2,000 men to meet the invaders, but only 55 showed up.
Oh my god.
Loyalty.
Yeah, exactly. Most of whom just surrendered. They're like, fuck this. Just look at all these
I'm
dudes.
going home.
They showed up to surrender. I like that.
The two of them just could not raise an army because everyone hated them. They even went so far as recruiting prisoners to fend off the advancing Queen's army.
So the 55 that showed up, what were they like? What was their story?
It's probably just like, oh yeah, well that's a lot of people, you know?
They definitely added on numbers to make it not seem bad. It was probably lower.
Yeah. It was like 15?
Yeah.
15 dopes?
We'll make it 55.
15 guys who couldn't hear So they gave him like English Sign Language that something else was happening over there. You know, like, oh, free cotton candy.
Well, you know, there was that one guy that showed up that he was like hoping he was ahead of everyone. So he'd go like, "For the king!" And then like have everyone shout, "For the king!"
Right.
But he just shows up, there's like 15 dudes like, fuck.
Guys didn't bring flags. What the fuck?
We don't have food.
So London at this time had erupted into anarchy. There was fighting between the royalists and anti-royalists. It was just a complete nightmare. Now, you think invasion, you know, you hear like, you think of like raising cities, guerrilla warfare, real ugly shit when your country gets invaded.
Yeah.
Nope. Queen Isabella's army marched across the country and there was little to no bloodshed. Every town she walked into,
nice.
people would cheer, many joining her cause and like fighting in her army. Queen Isabella also made sure to pay for her army supplies, and she gave out to charity to universities and churches.
And so anyone who stood in their way just got a swift spanking.
No, they were like, "Oh yeah, come on, this is
So
fun."
nobody stood in their way.
Get on the Vagabus. Oh, you know what I mean?
It's like Oprah's army. Like, we have a book club, too.
We're all going to be smart together.
So this is probably one of the most peaceful invasions I've personally ever heard of. Now, between the riots in London and the Queen's advancing army, Edward and father and son Despenser, and also a band of small warriors, fled London on October 2nd, 1326. They're like, fuck this shit, we gotta get out of here, this is stupid.
How'd they even get out of the city?
I don't know. They took their warriors. We're like, yeah, we're gonna fucking fight our way out.
They're four nerf warriors.
They used the warrior's exit.
It was a pretty big, I mean, these are like royal guards, so there's like a bunch of them.
All right.
But a week later, Edward's big royal guard went down to 12 archers
Oh, no.
Oh, that's it.
protecting him. And he had to beg them to stay with him.
The archers are
Jeez.
the skinny guys, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do anything when someone's knocking on the door.
Archers wore high heels back in the day.
So, yeah.
I believe that.
That's
It's
true.
Yeah, no,
No,
it's
it's true.
It's a fun fact. And so did horse riders.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kept you in the stirrups, sir.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, a week later, Edward he just has 12 archers because the rest of his guard, including both Despensers, had abandoned him. Now, you could just kind of cue the Benny Hill music as the Despensers and the king ran around the country getting chased by Roger Mortimer's men. And ask me a question, plural.
Oh, well, how did, firstly, Robert Despenser die? Senior.
Hugh.
Hugh, excuse me. Robert, right, I was thinking Robert Mortimer.
Yeah.
Hugh Despenser. How did old ass Hugh Despenser die?
I'm glad you asked, because that's the first slide here.
Good.
So, the first of the runaway royals to get caught was Hugh Despenser Sr. He was in Bristol, and he was trying to save some of his estates from the mobs.
Did they find him in a treehouse?
Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, I got all these things.
Built it myself.
Do you see this? This is my cool Army G.I. Joe collection.
Well, that is a cool kid. I would want to be friends with him.
Yeah, fuck.
But he's probably 70.
Yeah, he's about 70. So he was put to trial and sentenced as a traitor and sentenced to hang. Queen Isabella actually begged for a lighter sentence as she never really was harmed by the elder Despenser. You know, he was like, oh, he didn't really do anything. It was mainly his son that was a dick.
Okay.
But mob justice prevailed. So he was hanged from the gallows, then beheaded as a common thief. His body was impaled on a forked giblet for 4 days. It was then taken down, chopped up, and fed to the dogs.
That shit was like football back then.
What's that?
Everyone like tuned in to see that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
People get tortured like that or hanged.
Yeah, it was pay-per-view.
So the dude's like kibble now, or Purina. I
Jeez.
don't know which one.
Gruesome.
Which one tastes better?
I've tried Purina.
So then the other one. That's what he was.
That one's better. Okay.
Yeah.
There's that. He's not no. Was it blue ribbon? What's the fucking blue buffalo?
Oh, blue. Yeah.
He's not a blue buffalo.
The finest of dog foods.
Fine dog food. So Hugh Despenser the younger was caught in Hereford, and the Queen showed him no mercy. Despenser was dragged behind a horse and taken to the Queen herself. Isabella wanted him tried and executed in London, but Hugh knew exactly what fate awaited him, so he stopped eating and drinking in an attempt to starve himself.
That's worse.
Yeah,
That's
what are
worse.
you doing?
I don't know. He's like, I don't want to do all these bad things to me. I gotta go to sleep.
Dying of thirst or hunger is worse than any other torture to death.
Well, okay.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, it's probably really slow.
Yeah, it takes like 3 weeks.
It's drawn out.
Well, after a week, they saw that what was going on, and Despenser looked so weak that the Queen thought he might not make it to London, so they tried him in Hereford. Now, Despenser's sentence was to be hanged as a thief, drawn and quartered as a traitor, beheaded for violating his sentence of exile, and because he was always disloyal and procured discord between our Lord King and our very honorable Lady Queen, he was to be disemboweled and then his entrails burnt.
I'll take that over starving to death.
Okay, now let's get into the details here of how this happened.
Please.
Hugh was prepped for execution. First, a crown of thorns was placed on his head, and verses of scripture centering around ignorance and retribution were tattooed on his body. So he got a free tattoo job.
That's cool.
Where?
Like Jesus,
sick.
Where on the
crown
body?
I don't know, all over.
Probably a tramp stamp.
Dispense here. Dispense your Sesman. In
Naughty,
here.
naughty boy.
So he got these tattoo jobs. But then he was thrown in a chest and paraded through the streets to the sound of trumpets.
Oh, that's the worst instrument to get paraded around to. Please, anything but the trumpet.
Take the didgeridoo, the kazoo.
Yeah,
Oh my god, the kazoo.
I'm just imagining the trumpets having that mute on it, so it's like...
Yeah, like a Louisiana funeral. Like, march down the street and just really hot in there. Did you get any scorpions in there? Like Hook? Did that happen?
No scorpions.
What they? Nothing?
Nah.
Did they give him a corn muffin? Anything?
He's in a box.
Just a man in a box. All right.
So he's in a box, he's taken to this marketplace and thrown out on the street. And there was the Queen and Roger Mortimer watching him, smiling down. Like, there's this little stupid idiot. Now, Despenser was stripped, so he could show off his, sweet chest piece he just got.
Yeah.
Then he was pulled up a 50-foot ladder by a noose around his neck,
Oh god.
where he was secured, half strangling, but still alive.
At least he's secured.
Well, he's like, it's not comfortable. Just
Secure.
like that.
That's an interesting
long as
term
it's not
you use.
comfortable.
Secured.
Yeah,
At least he's secured.
he's secured. He's half
Say-
suffocating.
50 feet? Why don't we make it 75?
Yeah, why not? So a fire was lit at the bottom of the ladder. First, his dick and balls were cut off and thrown into the flames,
Cool.
for he had been a heretic and a sodomite.
Oh my god.
Next, while he was still alive, they cut open his belly and pulled out his intestines, and then his heart and threw them into the fire.
This is
Because his
happening on a ladder?
on a ladder. There's a dude on another ladder next to him doing all this shit.
Why? They could just do it on the ground.
No, they wanted everyone to see. There's a whole crowd of people watching this whole dick cutting off and shit.
15 feet would have done it. They've gone 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
This is very
imagining
high
like
up
the
there.
executioner was on stilts or something.
I don't know if they knew how eyes
He's on a
worked back then.
pogo?
If you look at the artwork back then, no one really had a sense of perspective.
No.
So no one knew, if it's high up, everyone could just look at it,
Well, there's actually a drawing at the time of what this looked like, and I'll put it up on the Instagram.
Oh sweet.
Beautiful.
Nice.
All right, so what happened next
Okay,
on
so
the ladder?
so he apparently they cut out his heart. I don't know if they know where the heart is because he was still alive.
Yeah, it wasn't
Oh,
hard.
God.
It probably wasn't the heart. It's probably like
kidney.
his kidney or
Yeah.
It was
something.
his foot.
Yeah,
It looks like a heart, kidney,
Yeah.
It's pee goes through it.
yeah. So he's up there like screaming and bleeding, and his intestines are in the fire. And then finally they cut off his head. And then he's dead. Obviously, they
Yeah,
cut
he was
the head
still
off.
screaming after that.
Oh, hit the high C with his head off.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So they cut off his head and sent his head to London, and then chopped his body into quarters and sent them to 4 major English cities.
Just to have.
Check it out.
Don't do this.
What am I going to do with this? What the fuck do you send me this for?
You gave me his groin, and he has no dick. Well, how is he going to dispense?
So off for a piece.
Oh, my. All right, so I guess the big question is, how was your week?
Yeah, it was great, dude. Thanks for asking.
All right, cool. How did King Edward II find his end.
Okay, so Eddie has a little bit more of a story going on here, but we will meet his end shortly.
All right, cool.
So we don't know specifically where or how he was captured, but they got him. They got him.
Just got him.
Got him.
They've bin Laden'd him.
So then he was actually placed under a house arrest of sorts until he could go to a
torture?
trial.
Trier? Yes.
Trial.
Oh, what?
Good English.
They put him in a ramada.
Yeah. So the queen convinced him to hand over his royal seal, but nobody wanted to be accused of regicide because, killing the king's a big deal. So meanwhile, Edward III was taken to London, and Isabella wanted him to seal the deal and become crowned king. But Eddie III refused. He said he would not betray his father and that he could never take the throne as long as his father lived. Not a very smart thing to say.
Yeah, also, who cares? Your dad's a bastard, and everyone wants him dead.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you want to try this? You want to try this? Maybe pay attention a little bit?
Yeah, don't dig in the dirt.
Yeah.
So Roger Mortimer went to Eddie too, beat him up a little bit, and threatened him that if he did not abdicate the throne to his son, Parliament would vote a king outside of his royal bloodline. That meant Roger Mortimer.
Oh, okay.
So at least he gave him a chance, and eventually Eddie too was dragged before Parliament and officially abdicated the throne to his son on January 25th, 1327. But that made Roger Mortimer and the Queen Isabella, crowned regents, since Eddie was still a little boy idiot.
Okay.
So because he was a child, his parents, and his mom and stepdad were crowned regents.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So Edward was stripped of his title of king and became simply Sir Edward of Carnarvon. And it was agreed that he would be housed at Kenilworth Castle.
Right next to IHOP.
Right next to IHOP and the actual dog kennel, where he would live in comfort for the rest of his days.
Oh, that's
Not so
nice.
bad.
Although he was free to walk the grounds, Edward could not leave the castle, and he was constantly guarded and monitored. Edward started writing poetry, and his son gifted him 2 casks of wine for him to pass the time.
He's in rehab.
It's
Not
nice.
too shabby.
Right?
Rehab forever.
Rehab forever. Except
Yeah.
you get wine, though.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like opposite of rehab.
Yeah.
Stay home and be sad forever.
After his son's coronation, groups of people found out that Isabella and Roger Mortimer were just as tyrannical as Hugh Despenser. They were like,
What?
yeah, they were like, oh, well, we're just going to keep spending as much shit as possible. And, like, all these people that, like, wronged us, we're just going to execute them.
Oh my goodness, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I saw single payer health care and college, free
Oh, that's
education for
nice.
everybody. No. They just made everyone rub potatoes.
Yeah, rub these together real fast. You might make electricity and we can make light bulbs.
Yeah, I want them clean, not that clean.
So these groups of people formed a Free Edward II group.
The 15 people who showed up to battle.
Yeah.
What was the
All
hashtag?
spray painted T-shirts.
Free Eddie.
Hashtag free Eddie, hashtag, what's that? I don't know. Would you call them like the flat earthers of their day?
Yeah, probably.
He was good.
Yeah, it
He
was
was
great.
good. You see a map? It's flat.
So Mortimer had Edward II relocated to Berkeley Castle to get him a little bit further away from London. Now, it's not quite clear how well Thomas Berkeley, who was Hugh Despenser's brother-in-law, treated Edward. Most chroniclers said that that Edward still lived a life of luxury, but there were some that said that he was thrown in a pit full of dead animals and given rotten food and also forced to wear a crown of straw.
Straw's not bad. It's better
Yeah.
than thorns.
Yeah, thorns.
Okay, now officially ask me again. You tell me again.
All right, how'd he die?
How'd he die? Okay, the plots to free Edward kept growing. And in September of 1327, Edward II died.
She just died?
Poolside.
Just died.
He just died?
No, I'm not going to leave you at that. There's actually a lot of different conspiracies about how he died.
All right.
I'm going to tell you the most probable cause of death. So most historians and chronicles agree that this is what happened. While Edward was sleeping,
The most professional.
Yeah, most professional.
Most Chronicles.
This is what
happened.
Dude,
So listen to me.
this is what happened. Listen to me.
Understand.
While Eddie was sleeping, a group of men bum rushed his room.
Which he liked.
Which he liked.
He actually ordered them on Grindr.
Yeah. Then they pinned him to the bed using a small table,
Which he also ordered.
Yeah, he's tickled pink right now.
and spread his legs.
Okay.
I see no downside.
They then inserted a horn into his butthole and poured molten copper into his rectum.
Oh, yeah, he didn't answer that bit.
Now, there's part of this conspiracy is it might have not been a horn with copper. It could have just been a red-hot iron poker
Into his anus.
into his anus.
Ow.
Now, the reason why they did that was because there's a lot of other people that said he died of natural causes. So when you pour molten iron into someone's body through their butthole, there's no real, like, physical damage.
There's nothing on the outside.
Yeah.
You have to spin him over and spread the cheeks to find damage.
You'll find
Which they didn't do back then.
you'll find a perfect mold.
Turn into a scrapyard.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's all the evidence you need is like a fucking metal mold of his anus and rectum.
It's like those people who poured molten silver into the ant holes.
Yeah.
And then they pull out a intestine of fantastic but
People do
awful
that?
ruler
Yeah.
anus. Yeah.
Ruler anus.
Ruler anus.
That's the new Guy Fieri restaurant.
Ruler anus.
What kind of
Brought
food
to you
is
by
it?
donkey sauce.
So, like I said, a lot of other la.
Travis, is this the first time you've read?
I don't know anything about English. Okay. Look, I just learned. So I have my friend Emmanuel, and he tells me how to pronounce all these words. I just memorize it all.
Go to patreon.com
Yeah.
roastmortemcast so we can finally pay Emmanuel.
Okay, so like most of the other stories consist of him dying of starvation, natural causes, but there is one whole idea and conspiracy that somebody else was killed, and he escaped to Italy where he became a monk.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now there's actually a lot of credible evidence that he did that. In fact, Eddie the Third, after years and years of time, had paid some Italian monks for possible remains. But like, it's very weird, and like I read all the conspiracy to it, and there might be some credibility there that he lived out his life in Italy, and not with a burnt anus.
So you think that the guy who they swapped bodies with, the dude that they killed, do you think the anus thing was to like they made him find the body with the anus sticking up, and they go, "I've seen that anus.
That's mighty
That's
wide.
obviously Edward II. And
Yeah, it
shall
was
we
like-
not turn him over? Let
It
us
was like a
bury him into the
Cinderella
ground."
glass slipper thing, but it was like this cast iron butt plug instead.
And that is Edward II and a shitty reign.
Wow. I miss Piers.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a lot nicer than Despenser.
Yeah, Spencer sucked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to
True
be
that.
fair, Piers
Both kind
also
of sucked.
sucked.
Yeah, they both sucked pretty
Yeah,
bad.
they both suck.
I just
pretty good.
missed
Yeah.
the color he brought to the story. There was a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
more. There were a lot more streamers.
He was
in my
very
head.
fabulous. He was
Yeah.
very
The
fabulous.
Exactly.
second half was a little more bloody.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it was bloody both ways.
Now I do have a quick post-mortem if you're a little interested.
Do I have a
Oh.
choice?
No, you don't have a choice.
All right.
I'm going to tell you this post-mortem.
Whatever, dude.
So, like I said before, Roger Mortimer and Isabella ran the same fuckery that Edward II did. They racked up England's debt and led a reign of oppression and fear. All while the boy king Eddie III watched in horror. He's like, "No, mommy and stepdad, don't do."
My kingdom.
He knew English. You're the one who doesn't know English. He speaks English just fine. Leave him out of it.
Whatever. So on Eddie III's 18th birthday, when he officially was allowed to rule, that same day he had Roger Mortimer arrested. Roger Mortimer was accused of assuming royal power and other high misdemeanors, and sentenced to hanging. While Isabella begged his son to go easy on Mortimer, he did not. On November 30th, 1330, Mortimer was hanged from the gallows, and his body was left up there for 2 days for everyone to see what happens when you steal royal power.
Whoa.
Fuck.
They just like putting dead bodies real high. It's
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
year round. Over.
Yeah.
Yep, entrails burning and a skull on my wall.
Keep going.
Okay.
Chestnuts, that's a penis tip. We'll have some other anus to put in a thing. Copper buttholes.
You're never invited to my house for Christmas.
Why?
You're a sick man.
I can't
You're
sing
a
that
sick
to
man
my-
who has sex with snacks.
I like having sex with snacks. Who doesn't want to have sex with snacks? I'm just saying they're
I
sweet,
do.
they're nice.
All right, awesome.
You've never sexually licked a raisinette before, Cody.
That's true.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in to the Roast Mortem cast coverage of Edward II,
Yes.
King of England, schmuck forever.
Eddie.
Yeah, I had fun. Thanks, Travis.
You're welcome.
Hey, thanks, Travis.
Do do do
loved
do.
Yeah, and you can find us on the social medias. Just fucking Google the Roast Mortem shit. Who cares?
We got
You guys
SEO,
know.
dog.
We got the Patreon. That's the only one we care about because money. And yeah, you can find me at Saunched, SAUNTCHT on Twit.
You can find me at Travis Legion with 2 E's.
I am Cody McCann, at Cody McCann on Twitter, CODYMCC, A-double-N.
And I'm Mike Regan, and you can follow me at Mike Regan with 2 N's.
Yeah, and watch your ass around hot iron.
Yeah.
Danky Shane. You know what? If you eat a lot of snacks, you will have a very burnt anus. And some people think that's pleasurable. I'm just
Halal
saying.
food gives me burnt anus.
Which
Fucking
one?
Halal.
Well, that's not a snack.
Well, maybe
Sometimes it is.
It can be a snack,
Yeah.
you know.
Ooh.
If you split it
It's
with
so
someone.
good, though.
Ooh.
It's worth it.
Ooh.
Yeah?
All right, that's it.
Yeah.